All right, what is up, guys? Thanks again for checking into our next episode of our Only Points podcast. We are now on episode 4, and I am Credit Jacker, otherwise known as Alexis, and we have a special guest. We have Mr. Credit Gems.
What's up? What's up?
Alongside Eddie Garcia and Eddie Mercado. And folks, it's been a while since we last met, so what have you guys been up to?
Well, shit.
Well, actually, it hasn't been a long time since we've met because Eddie Garcia almost lives with me.
Yeah.
And now Mr. Credit Gems
Officially
lives with
you.
me,
Yeah.
so that's pretty dope.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's your first time coming out.
It was about
It's
time,
been
bro.
like 6 months since I've actually been out to Vegas, yeah.
And this is, I do have to throw some shade right now because he's the one that has the most miles. It's probably because you don't travel.
You be
So,
saving them, huh?
Yeah, you be saving them.
Honestly, yeah, I'm hoarding too much. I gotta spend it.
Yeah, he wanted to save the 100K for Equinox every single time.
Exactly.
I guess the only miles that I do hoard are city miles, but those do hold value. I mean,
City's strong. Yeah.
they'll be used, but for sure. As far as projects that we've been working on, yeah, I actually Amazon FBA wholesale being my main stream of income, my biggest stream of income. I locked in two warehouse units with a business partner, a brand new business partner, somebody I definitely connected with. It's kind of crazy. I met him at the Sean Kelly's 1M event.
Which was not that long ago.
Which was not that long ago. It was
At all.
actually January 5th. It was on a Thursday, if I'm not mistaken.
3 weeks ago almost.
Of 2023. Yeah, which we do move fast. From there, it's actually kind of funny because they're like, oh, what do you do? What do you do? Because they're like, you are the not familiar face here. And I was like, I started describing what I do. I travel, credit repair, travel hack, business credit, and Amazon FBA. And, just probably 5'10". Bearded guy goes, I do the same, I do the same, I do the same. And one of my goals actually is to get my helicopter license this year. And he goes, I do the same. And I was like, there's no way. But I wanted my helicopter license. He actually changed my mind to me in wanting to get my airplane license, like my private pilot license.
He's talking about Luis. I don't know if you guys met
Yeah,
him.
Luis Barraza. So him got to warehouses with Luis. Shoutouts to him. I started my YouTube channel, so definitely expect that. The podcast. I have a bunch of trips planned for the rest of the year. What other projects have you guys been working on?
Myself, I finally bought a car for Turo, my very first car for
Nice.
Turo. It's a 2020 Mercedes-Benz GLC 4MATIC.
Big
So
stepping.
Let's go.
Yeah, I know. Finally excited to have a newish car whenever I need it. And then in the meantime, while I'm traveling and I'm just at home, I'm just going to have it rented out, making a little bit of cash. To be honest with you, as long as it pays the freaking monthly payment, I'll be Gucci.
You'll be good.
Right? So I did that.
So you're going to keep it in the San Diego market really quick?
Yeah, I'm going to keep it in the Sunday market. I was thinking also, like Vegas, because obviously it's huge here.
Big market,
But I would rather get more of like exotics
Yeah,
here.
right.
Which, we have connections for.
And it's pretty much one of the only like couple places you can put exotics out and
Right.
they stay busy.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Because, dude, like, I come here all the time, and there's always something freaking going on. It's insane. It's like there's never a slow weekend here in Vegas. It's
Not
like
even when it's cold.
expos, events.
Rain or shine,
Yeah.
Rain or
Yeah.
shine.
So it's so this is a really, really good market to keep going. Now, I haven't done my research on this market, but from the looks of it, it's amazing. So definitely in the future that I want to do. But then since I don't live here, then I'm not going to have access to any of those cars, which is fine, whatever, as long as they're producing money. And then this year I started...
Wait, sorry. Before you continue,
For sure.
what color is this car?
What color? Red. Why?
Is red?
Somebody's going to get pulled over.
Why'd you pick red? Yeah. I mean,
It was just the miles.
It's a nice bright red color.
It's
I'm not
a
even
nice
gonna
bright
lie.
red color. The miles on it were 15,000 miles, which was like super low. 2020 is still under warranty for both miles and year, and it was like thousands of dollars cheaper than the next one up. So I was like, fuck. I think it was because of the color. Because again, like most people go with like white or black. So since it was
Or,
red, like
or
bright
that
red.
gray.
Yeah.
You could
Like
wrap,
all the
wrap
neutral
it,
colors.
right? I mean,
yeah,
if you really wanted
that's
to.
what I was
Yeah.
thinking. Well, here's I was thinking I was doing some research on Turo for in San Diego, and I saw a Tesla there. There's so many Teslas in San Diego that it's insane. So I was like, but I do have a few buddies that do Turo in San Diego, and they're like, no, my Tesla still gets rented out, and it still makes money. And however, I saw one that was wrapped like all chrome,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
all
monochrome,
it was
okay.
like shiny as hell. It was like it looked like a unicorn, right?
Oh,
So I
that's,
was like, that's kind of smart because it
that-
looked booked. It looked booked.
It looks like what
psychedelic. It's called the color's called psychedelic.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I don't know. It was just shiny to me. So I was like, dude, that is crazy.
It's a cool color.
That's what I was like, fuck it. If I just wrap it something crazy, maybe people would also
Yeah,
rent it out,
for
right?
sure.
But yeah, so did that, and then I'm currently working on systematizing better my entire business. Because last year it was an inflow of a shit ton of clients, which I'm truly grateful for, but it caught me very off guard.
Good problem to have.
It's a very good
Yeah,
problem
good
to
problem.
have. Yeah, for sure. And but now I teamed up with, or I hired his name is Clay Ratterman. If anybody doesn't know who he is the guy behind 0%. And
He is the guy. Don't fall. I'll throw this one out
All
there.
right.
Don't fall for whoever the faces of the company. You guys trust.
Right. So this guy was the sales operator, the integrator, the systems guy. So I saw what he did for that company, and I was like, dude. I got connected with him. Luckily, it's all about networking and connections. Got on the phone with him. Super cool, down to earth guy. And I was like, dude, this is. At first, it was funny because he thought that I was just some kid that just learned credit repair, probably on CRC, and I just started doing it by myself. And then eventually, after an hour call, I was like, bro, you do know that I've been doing this for years, and I have like 18 employees. He's like, oh shit, okay. In that case, yeah, you definitely need me then.
Yeah.
Because he was trying to make it sound like,
You
like,
need the basics.
yeah,
or
you
like,
need the basics,
yeah.
like. Right?
I think that's why you start obviously stating what you do in your introduction. My name is blank. This is what I do.
Right.
We tend to obviously not throw how many employees we have because we really don't think it's important. For two reasons. I think it could come off as arrogant,
Right.
or also not as important. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
yeah. Because at first, I mean, to be honest with you, it's not that I had to do any vetting him out at all, because I already knew who the hell he was.
Correct.
But yeah, I was just trying to hear more about him. I was asking him more questions about what he currently does, and how can he help me out, et cetera, et cetera. So. But yeah, so I'm super excited for that. We are almost done systematizing the entire process. So right now I got to go back home and record a shit ton of training videos for my team and for the new client onboarding process. So that way it's easier and smoother for everybody in the program. And then I paid another mentorship. Like every single year, you guys got to network. You guys got to, like, for example, 300 for most events. 15,000 for another mentorship that I got into.
So let's actually talk about Mo's event just a little bit. It was a Charity Brothers event.
Oh yeah.
It was on a Friday, which wasn't too practical. I definitely could have had more of my people show up if it was on a Saturday, if it was on a weekend, if it was on a Saturday or a Sunday, not a Friday. Another thing that I wasn't too in tune with was that doors opened at 2 p.m. The event started. They said the event was going to start at 3 p.m. and it started around 3:30. It just for the people that work 9 to 5s, obviously didn't make it. I don't think people showed up after the 9 to 5 either. There were multiple speakers. The speakers were, if you didn't go, you missed out. There was Dr. Robert Ray, Dr. 90210. There was, what's his name?
Pablo Mercado was cool at the very end.
Yeah.
At the very end, they had the #1 YouTuber in the world for
Oh yeah, for
hypnosis
hypnosis and magic.
Magic.
That's pretty crazy.
And these are all people based out of the beautiful country of Brazil.
Brazil, yeah.
So
It was cool.
Yeah, the translation was a little tough.
Yeah.
Digesting, especially that last one, because that was he was dropping some gems, but I felt like the language barrier was like, oh, like I feel like I'm not getting everything that he's actually trying to convey because of the language barrier. But I mean, like the guy, if somebody were to tell me like, hey, translate on the spot this Spanish speaker like into English like this, I'd be like, fuck, like I would get lost immediately.
It was good enough to get the concepts and stuff. Like
correct.
Yeah, it was
correct.
cool.
But I do definitely want to go listen back to a recording and be like, okay, let's try to dissect this as much as possible.
Because the speaker had the tonality, he had the attitude, he had the oomph. You know, he definitely brought the energy.
Right.
Of which he is running for president.
Yeah, and he does this all the time. He's a billionaire that freaking just does conventions and speaking engagements.
Masterminds, yeah.
So it was definitely honorable to be there. But I felt like we were seeing it's like seeing Michael Jordan and someone that does not know anything about basketball. Like, you know, you're just standing there like, oh, who's this guy? Next thing you know, you research him and you're like, fuck.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, so that's how it literally felt. It literally felt like that.
It's funny because before he got to the event, the person that picked him up, they made a pit stop. There was an event, a 5K run here in Las Vegas. They were supposed to show up to the event. They showed up a little late, but before that, they did go run a 5K. And hey, you know, like that's dope. That's super respectable. And that's something that I told him at the very end. I think out of the entire event, the last 5 minutes just blew my mind because I won't discuss it this podcast, but we're definitely going to dissect that more, where something that I figured out.
That's true. The 3 things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, we want to hold that until
that.
the next podcast
For
for
sure.
sure. But I was super glad that all the us three, unfortunately, you weren't
I
there.
couldn't make it. Yeah. I wanted to make it, but I already had other
Busy schedules, yeah.
busy schedules.
Busy schedules. I'm glad you were there, and then the only person that isn't here right now is Wes. She was there witnessing greatness too.
Yeah.
So
And the thing that was the funniest thing was the whole after event. That was a mess.
Yeah, it was.
But okay, so after the event, the speaker goes, "Hey, for anybody that wants to stay for the after the event after this, we're gonna be charging people $2,000 for them to go with us to dinner, and
Speak with him
and then we're
further
gonna go
and-
to a club."
yeah.
Right?
I don't think.
They said Zook. That's right. They
Zook.
said
Yeah,
were gonna
they
go to
did
the
say
club.
Zook. I don't think they were gonna take you guys out to dinner. I thought they were going to cook.
Have the chef cook.
Oh,
Have
yeah,
the
yeah,
chef
yeah,
cook
correct.
for you guys,
Correct.
which the chef has worked with who? He's worked for Drake in French Montana. That's the type of chef that they had there at the house. And we opened up the event
Right.
with a 10-minute meditation sesh, which one of my boys got tripped out. He ended up taking off.
Thought
but-
it was a cult.
yeah, he thought we were on some cult stuff. It caught me off guard too, but
I didn't know what to expect from the event.
I don't know who you're talking about. Who the hell
What?
took
What? No, his homie.
let's not say names.
Okay,
Let's
gotcha.
not say names for
You're
sure.
telling me after. Bleep it, Alex. No,
Censored.
censor. No, I'm playing. But that's that's crazy. No, it was a little trippy, yeah. But I was like, okay, no, I totally understand that. I've been to so many masterminds or events that it's like, okay, I get it, the whole mindset thing first, and I
Yeah.
truly believe in it too. Anyway, so
Yeah, I
cool
wasn't
about
thrown
it.
off by it, but I could. Yeah, it makes sense.
I was thrown off. I just didn't. I reacted differently. We'll say that much.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, the event was okay. You could pull a lot of stuff from it, but it was definitely a little, all over the place.
But I mean, like, it's
It
super.
was robust.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I did all the networking like
That you needed
that
to.
I needed to right then
Yeah,
and there.
100%.
It was funny because like literally, you got the billionaires' WhatsApp number. I got the other billionaires people's phone numbers and Instagrams. So it literally like it was no point if
cool.
they actually charged people $2,000. I didn't. We didn't even need to do that. But it was funny because at the end we were just chilling at the house, just waiting
Yeah.
for everybody for no reason.
They didn't charge us.
And then they're like, oh, we're gonna go to the Venetian at the end of the day. I was like, perfect, I'm staying there.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go. Perfect, let's go. And then so we ended up going there, and
I think they read your brain and they're like, "This guy's staying there. We need to
No,
go
they read
investigate."
right. So we end up going with Dylan.
Yeah, Dylan.
Dylan is cool, 21-year-old rapper. So we just get there and we're just waiting for a table at the Grand Lux Cafe, and next thing we know, like they pay for everything.
Yeah.
So,
but we didn't really talk to them much. We were just all at the same table.
We were just like on the corner of the other table. Like again, it's all hard to listen to
the language
barrier. They were all speaking in Portuguese. My bad.
It's Portuguese, yeah.
My bad. And Portuguese, and they we were like,
yeah.
So then
I'm sure you guys could have understood a little bit because it's
like half.
Yeah,
I mean,
half.
it's tough, man. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a certain words. There's some phrases that they would say, and like it was like 90% Spanish. I was like, got that phrase. The next one, didn't get anything.
Feeling accomplished.
Right?
It was tough.
Bad, bro.
I tried watching his stories and stuff just to try and like listen to Portuguese more, but
I started watching his reels, and I was like,
it's hard.
Sepa.
Without fucking
Sepa.
if you don't have a translator directly right there, because like if the translator confirms what I thought, then it's a little easier. But no.
Right.
The thing about it is
tough.
he also speaks extremely fast.
He does. Obviously, he's the most fluent in it.
Yeah. He's a great communicator.
It's cool.
He was really good. I can tell from the emotion and how he was trying to convey everything. It just, again, it was just a language barrier. But no, dope event. At the end of the day, I'm glad I still went.
You said you were. Oh, we transitioned to that because I was like systemizing. You were talking about what you were working on.
Right. So yeah, so here's the thing. So since last year, I learned. And even though I'm super grateful to have this problem that having too many clients, it's very overwhelming, and not having the systems. Because again, I don't want to throw my name around or drag my name on dirt, right? I don't want to be known as like, oh, I signed up and he didn't fulfill, right? Which, like it's happened because I literally like I got an influx of clients. I had no systems, no employees. And literally when I got a bunch of clients, I literally hired like 5-10 people like
on the spot,
like in a week's time. It was insane. So then creating training, it was just crazy. I'm very blessed for that to happen. But now I told everybody like, okay, stop new clients 2 months ago, and I'm going to focus on the systems, right?
Because it's better to turn down a client and not have them speak bad about you than to take in a client and not fulfill what was promised.
Correct. So right now, I mean, like I'm still taking clients from like if credit gems, like, hey, I have
direct
a really
referrals.
good direct referrals.
You're just not marketing your services.
Correct. Which I'm still getting a lot.
Yeah, no,
it's still ridiculous.
When you do good work, that's what happens.
Yeah. So again, very blessed about that. But like right now, like again, I need to get these systems down. So I'm currently working on that because the goal is to let the floods back in. Like once, and you guys know what I'm talking about. I don't want to discuss it yet in the podcast, but once these systems are like in place, we're gonna be doing some products that a lot of people have been asking me for. That way we can bring in like hundreds of clients.
Yeah.
A month.
That's gonna go crazy because everybody's gonna eat.
Yeah.
Everybody's gonna feast.
Yep.
That's why you're always welcome in my apartment.
That's facts. No.
What about you, Alex?
But yeah, it's good to hear. Like I'm kind of like similar to Eddie, but as you guys can see, like if you saw our first 3 episodes, you kind of saw that our setup was more or less basic, but that's because we were getting started, right? But as you can see, we're doing some more upgrades. We have some lighting in the background that you might not be able to see. You're watching this on a new camera, so honestly, one of the things that I think is really important is having like the right gear. And for me in this year, I kind of want to get into like more of the content creation kind of side of it because I go on Instagram, you see these reels, you see like how these people are like basically like personal branding themselves. And honestly, like I think that's really big these days, having that presence in the media spaces.
You also got a tan.
I got a tan?
Just kidding.
All kinds of improvement.
Maybe we just look we're a little more white complected on this side of the table. No, I'm kidding.
But yeah, I mean, that's basically what my goals are, like trying to get more into content creation, things like that, because I feel like I can always work on having my online presence better, so that's my current goals.
What about travel?
I do have some trips planned, so...
Anywhere in particular that you're just like, I need to write this off the bucket list?
So funny enough, I'm in an MS group and they are going to have a meetup in Orlando. So I'm thinking of going there because I actually haven't been to Florida. The funny thing is, and so it literally be a bucket list, item that I can knock off. And
definitely.
So that's in February 12th. So I'm thinking about it right now. I have to talk with the group owners and all of that, but it's probably likely that I'll go to Orlando. And
Perfect.
if I feel like it, maybe go to Disney World. We'll see.
Maybe.
There you
Maybe,
go.
maybe, yeah.
Nice.
But lots of travel coming up besides,
go.
Orlando and stuff.
Sweet.
And then we have our special guest
That's for you
today.
guys. So, I mean, I could real quick kind of summarize what I've been up to. The last 2 or 3 months, I've really been focused on the mentorship that I had launched in November. I told myself I was going to give them like a quarter of the year just to really focus and educate the whole community, because I knew that if I can get them all competent, now the group will be able to like live on its own, basically, right? And then I would just be a vessel to facilitate everything. And that's pretty much what's happened. Everyone went from, the big light bulb moments about the basics of credit to now they're like getting themselves funded. They're working on other clients themselves. A lot of them started up repair companies and funding companies. And then a lot of other people put it back into the business they were already in. So there are e-commerce people in there, clothing brand, a few people with clothing brands. So it was just cool to see. That took a lot of fucking focus, that's for sure, just to focus on one thing. But I knew that it's going to pan out when you have a community that's all strong together. It really helped. So I'm glad.
And I actually got to stop you there because I got to give you massive props for the
Thank you,
community
bro.
that you build. It's probably one of the best communities that I've ever been part of. It's
Dope.
it's amazing.
I can vouch for that too, because if you didn't jump on, you definitely missed out, to
Yeah.
say the least. You were dumb. And then I remember when you had thrown out your price at first.
Yeah.
What did I say?
You said, and I quote, "You're cutting your dick off," which made me like really sit there and be like, "Damn, why am I undercharging?" Right? Because I know I'm over delivering. Right? So
Right.
we had that talk, and Eddie, thank you for being that blunt with it, because it really helped me like rethink my pricing and my overall what I was giving and my value for myself and what I know, right? Because it's quantifiably there, proof that it obviously helps and changes lives. But
Correct.
Right.
when you don't have that confidence behind your product, I guess, and maybe because I was just starting out, that tripped me up. But then I did a lot of studying on my own into pricing and psychology and how to deliver an offer. The biggest book that I can give credit to for that was $100 Million Offers by Alex Ramosi. I really read
my
that
God.
shit like so many times, listened to it, read it, and it definitely, that on top of your wake up call was what made my
Good.
launch 10x for sure.
You were taking a little while.
Yeah.
You kept on throwing around. You can't rush perfection.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can't
I say
rush
that a lot.
perfection, which is
But
very
speed
true.
is very important at the same time.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
And it's just like when you're a vessel, correct?
Yeah, right.
You can be a vehicle in the dark. When you and you have your lights on, correct? Even if you put your high beams on, you might still only be able to see 200 feet in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
But just know that as long as you're putting something out, correct?
One foot in front of the other, that's all you need. Yeah, with that.
Correct.
For sure. But yeah, no, that's what's been keeping me busy the last 2-3 months. Getting ready to launch round 2 of mentorship in the next couple months. And then I'm dropping a credit course just specifically on personal credit, because I feel like there's actually so much that you can talk about just in that one space that I need to give it its own product. So
And there's
that's
a
what
lot
I'm
of
working
people that are teaching credit incorrectly.
on. Right.
Right.
We
There
can
is-
talk about that in a
Oh
bit.
my
my
God.
God.
There is a lot of people that are teaching credit incorrectly. But before we even touch that, talk about what you did before you actually launched your mentorship
What specifically? So like my
on
past.
Instagram. What did you do on Instagram?
Oh,
That's huge.
you think? So
Yes.
talk about my strategy up to my launch?
No, not strategy. What did you do? You don't ever give out the strategy. You just say what you did.
Okay, all right. So I think I've explained to you guys how like profound that I've realized that the ratio of people that I converted was, because I have a very small following. So
Right.
I really, the dogs over here in the background, but I think at the time I launched my mentorship, I only had 3 Instagram posts. I had a lot of highlights to show like that I've really been working on this for over a year, right? But then I went live, I think every day for a month straight. And I got to the point where I was getting about 50 plus viewers every live. And I had
Consistently.
so much engagement that that converted into my SMS list. And then out of 200 people, I've actually never spoken about my numbers for the mentorship publicly, but out of a list of 200 people, we had 65 people buy into the mentorship.
Which is
I don't know what the ratio is. It's almost like it's almost 30%, isn't it? It's like
Yeah, 30.
Yeah.
30% conversion.
33%, yeah.
That's
yeah, insane, right? And
One third.
I did that because I believed in quality over quantity, and I honestly set up my page in a way where I think it's qualifying only those that are really interested in the long term, right? Because if you're just doing reels and you're just trying to do flashy stuff on Instagram and
Right.
say the most hot terms, then you're attracting an audience that's not able to focus for the long term, right? They want that short term shortcuts. And that's not how I teach. So I knew that I wanted to structure my Instagram in a way that only attracted those that were really able to focus for a long period of time. Because
Right.
I'm big on that.
I think that's actually kind of funny too. A very, very strong point that he made. Just because there's people online or on Instagram, these little fake gurus throwing out high terminology, doesn't mean that they actually understand what they're talking about. Trust me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Don't be flabbergasted.
By the likes and by the comments and stuff.
You can buy that stuff.
For one, you can buy it, and then two, think about the quality of like what's being said and who they're talking to, because you always want to be on the other side of the content. I always think about, why is that person, saying that in a certain way? Who's he talking to? He knows he's talking to the person that wants a shortcut, and that's a red flag usually to me if I'm looking at people to network with.
That's actually one of the things we're going to talk about later in this podcast. Is definitely those red flags.
Yeah,
but that is massive. Like nothing like. Again, especially in credit, there is no shortcut.
Something too, and this is a massive gem that a lot of people don't pick up on. If a person that you see interest in isn't giving you free value, he doesn't know shit. He doesn't know jack, because he's gonna want to get money first. And once you pay, guess what?
He's not gonna. He's gonna like fiddle around. Like he's gonna be like running around, not telling you exactly how to do it.
Because he doesn't know it, or he really has no passion for what he's doing, and he just wants to get as much money from you as possible.
Definitely good luck getting a hold of that person too.
Right.
I'm telling you, that's a huge gem. Anybody that doesn't give you free value doesn't know jack.
Now, if they give you free value, you have to do something with it. So that's why I personally, when I'm helping people out, I know that if I give somebody sauce for free, whether it's a long voice note explaining something they asked, or here's a free resource on and how to actually learn exactly what you're talking about. If they don't, if I give them an ultimatum, like come back to me with you executing on this, this, and this. If they don't, now at this point they're just taking my time and just messing with it because they don't value themselves. So that's the biggest thing I can say. If you want free value from anybody that's legit in the spaces that we're in, you got to execute and tell them, look, I've actually tried, right? I did something with
and
what
these
you
are
gave.
the results.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Exactly.
That's
That honestly pays me back if I joke about it with those people. I said, the only way you can pay me back right now is if you actually do something with this.
Yeah, to be honest with you, that's like if you wanted to, that's almost like a testimonial.
No, it is.
And then
it's also a data point.
Yeah, data point, testimonial, and then now they trust you so much more because they did exactly what you told them and it worked out.
Right.
So that's why. I mean, like, yeah.
What happens when it doesn't work out?
Well, then you just come back and be like, okay, that is very interesting, and you just change it up.
Correct. Because sometimes sometimes people skip steps.
Oh, if they execute wrong?
Yeah, correctly.
Well, also things like, especially in the credit space, things change constantly.
Yeah.
Constantly. So yeah, you guys being able to have that data points, like we were saying, like it's very, very vital that way, because you can't try everything going on at the same time for credit. There's too many things going on. There's so many freaking strategies to do. There's so many things that you can do.
In the travel hack space, in the MS space,
everything is always changing. Yeah.
So that's why, like, this is why people ask me all the time, like, hey, I want to learn travel hacking from you, and I tell them, nope, not for me, because to be honest with you, I'm already super hyper focused on the business credit, corporate credit, and things change there all the time.
You don't have your ear to the streets.
I can't focus my time and resources to be focusing. Oh, is there a promotion for American Airlines? Like I can't do it. This is why I hang out with people, right? That have in my community that have a strong sense for that. And again, can I teach someone travel hacking? Yes, but do what I feel like am I going to be doing a disservice to them?
And your time,
my time, and their time. Well, to be honest with you, I think I could teach them enough for them to be like, cool, this was worth it.
Sure.
But again, I'll just refer them to like,
that's the realization that I had is like you have to just pick a focus to get hyper to have your most strength in, and then lean on others to cover those other niches, because there's so many niches in the credit space.
Which is why I always say your friends, your coworkers are not your friends, but you can always hang out with your business partners.
Right. Yeah.
Always.
But
we're whether or not we're available, we're still around. We might be in the Even though we're not hanging out, we're hanging out, still getting shit done in the same room, in the same hotel room,
Right.
traveling together. It doesn't matter. And that to me is a beauty, you know?
Exactly.
That to me is 100% a beauty.
Actually, so credit gems. So
Yeah.
I think you should talk about like where you come from, a little bit about your background. That way
Yeah.
they understand like how'd you got into credit, how'd you got into what you do.
Cool,
right?
cool. Yeah, so
How'd you end up in Belize?
all the that was one of the first travel experiences. That was cool. But before that, years before that, this is funny. All this is like familiar to me still. I'm rusty with the sound engineering and video production, but I started out 17 or 18 as a videographer, full time, freelancing. That was what pushed me to drop out of college my first semester. Before then, though, I was a straight edge 4.5 GPA
Round of applause.
kid. Appreciate it. I'm also the oldest in my family and the first like generation that should be the one to go to college because of immigrant background, right? So like I was the one that I'm sure you guys can understand and relate to that. You're supposed to do things by the
pressure.
book, right? To be the lawyer, the doctor, etc. And that wasn't in me, and I really accepted that around 17, 18. Though the first thing that I had within my reach was video, and I took that and just ran with it. Honestly, who I could claim was like in my ear for most of that decision making was Gary Vee, because at the time it was
That guy.
on a rampage. At the time, he was blowing up. And
Where is he now?
no,
That's
come on,
right.
come on.
That's
in social
right.
media, he's not as prevalent as say Tate or fucking someone else. But I mean, that dude's a monster. Like he's
Yeah.
doing insane numbers with his media company. So, but the ideology he gave me was focus and you have time. And at the time, like obviously, ruling out the idea of getting hit by a bus in some random, occurrence,
Right.
being 18 is super young to have that moment of like, what should I do? Right? Because most people just glide through life until fucking way later. So I was grateful that I had that moment. And I said, I got to pick something. And what's the worst that could happen? So I went hard with the video thing. Told my parents, look, I would be better off trying my hardest at video than to just hate my life through college.
Yeah,
They
because
hated it, but they let me. And then when I was 17 or 18, sorry to cut you off, but one of the first trips that I had with video, I went to China for like 2 weeks. It was fully
Oh,
paid.
snap.
Yeah, I got
What
paid
the
for it,
hell?
and I got free room and board. I was recording a world championship basketball tournament. We got third place. The year before we had first, but still, me being 17, around all that, literally thinking like videography can take you places. Like just thinking about if I attach myself to a certain brand, company, whatever, they will literally be able to expose me to so much more, right? That I'm like, this is the best industry to be in. I would encourage any other kid that was at that age with that realization, you need to use video to get close to somebody or something. Because I'm like, what if I wanted to learn about cars? I would go to a dealership. I would go to somebody in the car niche and
the
just make content.
Cars and coffee events.
Take pictures.
Take pictures for them. Videos.
Because
for
it's
them.
valuable.
Right.
It's,
not credit in cars though.
who's out here too. But no, so that's what I was thinking. I was like, this is my easiest form of getting into a room. It's content is very hard to make in good detailed quality, and I knew it was like the blood of the internet, even more so now, right? But like Instagram was barely coming out with 60-second videos and stuff like that at the time.
Right, yeah.
And I had an attention to detail because I just grew up like that. Obviously, with school, if you're a perfectionist in school, 100% only A+, then that'll translate, and it did. And yeah, so I went from that China trip. That's where like, okay, I'm dropping out of college because if I can do this with very little experience, I know sky's the limit.
Right.
Then I ended up just grinding my ass off. So I don't want to say like it was quick. Grinding my ass off, literally doing like $20 a night hostels so I can get to a location, telling people, yeah, I work in LA, yeah, I live in LA, just to get the gig so I can go over, get a few $100 in the sports niche, which was working with, high school and college kids that don't have money. The only way that you can get a lot of money in that space is if you have a crazy huge channel to generate your own revenue, or you work with the big publishers like who I ended up working for after just grinding my ass off. I got in touch with Arik, a homie from Ball is Life, who was up there in the ranks that was able to give me an opportunity. Started out with just like $100 Venmo just for me getting some footage on Venice Beach, which is where I started to get my sports content. Then after that, I got into places that he couldn't because I was so scrappy. I would get people's numbers. I'd be like, yo, let me know what you need. On a dime, like a drop of a dime, I would be somewhere, right? Got into these big events. Somehow me not having any media credentials. I'm on baseline getting the footage, right? And there was a Floyd Mayweather charity basketball event that I went to, and 6ix9ine was there at the peak of his fame, and like all these famous people. And I told him, "Yo, I'm here," and he said, "How did you get in?" I was like, "I don't even fucking know. I found somebody I knew, and he brought me in." And he's like, "Bro, we got to talk, but give me some footage." I did. It went up, super good metrics on engagement. And he said, "Yo, I got to hire you, bro, because your stuff is good." And that's when it started. I went from Ball's Life to Slam Magazine to Bleacher Report, and I just started getting into that space heavy. I worked with Sierra Canyon. I did a documentary series for them back when it was like all those people on that team were in the league now.
How the hell do we not know this, bro?
I was gonna say this
What
is
the
the
hell?
first time you name drop.
Really?
What the
This
hell?
is the first time you name
Past
drop.
life. Yeah, I put it in my bio as my past life. I don't talk about it. I was filming for Tracy McGrady, Jeff Goldblum, all kinds of stuff. But what was crazy is I didn't know. I was super uncultured when I grew up, right? I was like a straight edge kid. So my parents would not let me have exposure to culture.
Right.
Even sports.
Same
and
here.
so with all those names that I was around, I didn't even know how big they were until later. And it was cool though because I attacked all my gigs with the same effort, right? And it was cool.
Yeah.
I treated everybody the same.
You humbled them.
Yeah, I was, yeah, because I literally shot that Jeff Goldblum video for his Netflix or his HBO show or something, and I didn't know who Jeff Goldblum was. I swear to God, didn't watch a single movie with him in it, and everyone's like, "Bro, that's a legend," and I was like,
I don't know who. Do you
"You
guys know who
would."
that
It's
is?
Jurassic
Jeff-
Park,
Jeff
Independence
Goldblum.
Day.
I don't want to mess this up.
yeah,
but
no.
does he come out on Thor in the Marvel? What?
I think he does. I think he
right?
does. Yeah.
Thor Ragnarok, and he's like the president,
Yes,
the
yes.
king of fucking.
Dude,
Get your dog, bro.
Stormy's getting kidnapped back there. Damn. No, but. We had to cut off real quick because of the dog's butt. So I remember that I went hard in that space for about a year and a half. Got my way to the point where I was like leading whole operations for videography.
At the age of
18. Yeah, so I was 18, turned 19. Then I had this weird wake up moment. I remember that I'm glad I was as self aware as I was. I was running an event. It was a charity event as well. It was 2 Chainz versus Quavo, and it was a celebrity basketball game to raise money at the Mamba Sports Academy. And I just remember being in a locker room. My job, because I was the head for content, I gave myself the best role ever. I was like, I'm going to follow Quavo all day. So that was my job. I had all my friends that I had met over the year and a half following like other people and making content for that event. I was the guy that you talked to get in if you were press. It was crazy. Dan Bilzerian was there. I think Kylie was there. Everybody you could think of was fucking there that was in LA. YG. They're all hooping. Machine Gun Kelly. And I remember being in the locker room with all these people. The Paul brothers were there. And I was just thinking, this is my job. Like, this is what I'm getting paid to do today. And then I thought, well, this is technically the peak of what every teenager would think of, right? The most culturally relevant celebrities and rappers in the space. And I said, why do I still not feel like this is what I want? Because I was like, I'm looking at like other pressed guys there that were like 40s and 50s who are still doing video, just a cameraman. And in my eyes, I thought, I don't want to be just a cameraman in a room like this. I want to be able to have value more than just someone who's taking pictures, taking videos, whatever. Because I can tell, and when you're a videographer, I know that you know what I'm talking about. It's almost like subhuman. Like you're just a fly on the wall, and that's cool, but you're not treated as another person, right? You're on your job. So I didn't like that, and I just thought of I need something that can give me more impact than just a cameraman, because I wanted to be able to hold my value from my name, not from who I was shooting for in the room like that. And I remember just being like, you know what? I don't think this is where my max capability can be. But I didn't know anything else at the time. All I knew, I just lived and breathed videography and content creation. I didn't even think about it in the sense of like marketing. I didn't think like, oh, I can do this for my own brand and just like pump out content. I just thought, you know what? I get money, I make a product happen, I give it to the client, and it's over. It was not entrepreneurial minded. So I didn't know the gift that I had at the time.
Was it big pay?
It was okay. The biggest one, well, because it's all about being able to negotiate your own price, because you can't content is this, it's like art, right? So how do you put a price on art? Some people can get away with, and I started learning towards the end, some people can get away with having less gear than me or less expertise than me, charging 10 times more than me. And it's just because it's all a negotiation. I didn't have the business side of it at all done. No one had taught me that. I didn't know about money. Definitely didn't know about credit. I was all cash, but busting my ass to get a new lens, back to zero in my bank account. Start again, like little by little. It was crazy. But I knew that it wasn't, if I forward paced it and I thought, what if I do this for the next 5 years? What would I have left if I died in 5 years? And it was like some videos. It was maybe 60 videos if I did one a month. So that's 12 a year times 5. I'm like, that doesn't seem like a lifestyle I want to leave if I had to leave this earth early. And that really hit me. And I had the moment where Quavo had asked me to go on tour. And I was thinking like, damn, this is the most tempting moment for any kid that's lost in what he thinks of himself to just go, yeah, fuck it, let me do it because of the clout or the relevance or how fun it would be, right? And I chopped it up and was like, yeah. Got his manager's number, etc. Never followed up. I just thought, I'm done with this today. I remember that day being like, I'm not even gonna come out with, I'm gonna give this homie the footage and I'm gonna say, yo, bro, I can't, because I couldn't spend like another day of editing and all that just to think of like, I was sick of it, but I couldn't necessarily pinpoint why. I knew I was sick of it, but I didn't know like, I have so much more potential in this other space. I was just like, I know I'm gonna find something. I know I'm gonna put this shit away in my closet and I'm gonna figure something out, because if I put my back against the wall, I'm gonna make it happen. So I got even crazier with it. Ended up moving to Hawaii. This is also when COVID hit, and I was like, you know what? The video space is gonna be crazy right now anyways. Let me just leave. And it was a cheap flight to Hawaii. I stayed there, and I thought I had just gotten a couple credit cards. It was maybe a $4,000 Chase Freedom and a $2,000 Blue Business Plus. And I started learning a little bit about credit when I was out there. I looked at all the cars. I looked at all the stuff that was going on with COVID. I saw Uber Eats and DoorDash were popping. People were making $200, $300 a day just delivering food because everyone was scared to go outside. And I thought, well, fuck it, that'll buy me some time. I just need a car. And I was 18, or 19, I couldn't get a car, and I wasn't gonna buy a new car, no credit. So I was like, let me take the $2,000 off the Blue Business Plus, go liquidate it, because I just found out a little bit about manufacturer spending. Okay. I took the $2,000 off the Blue Business Plus, and I got a car for $2,000 on Craigslist. Super cheap, lemon, like probably about to break down, but I said, fuck it, if this lasts me a week and I make $300 a day for these 7 days, I'll make $2,000. I'll be break even, right?
Right.
That's what I ended up doing. I worked my ass off for a whole week. First week I got, I think, $1,900. So I was like, okay, shit. If this thing breaks down tomorrow, I'll be at least out of the hole that I put myself in. And that shit ended up lasting me the whole year. I did Uber Eats full time that whole 12 months with that car. So my initial cost was $2,000. And I started making $250 to $300 a day. And on the holidays, I was doing like $400 a day. Just 10, 12, 13-hour shifts, fucking Uber. I got so good at it. And with entrepreneur stuff starting to turn, I made a course that I called Delivery Degree, just on food delivery, and showed people how to make $6,000 a month just fucking with food delivery. And I started getting creative with it. I made these little flyers on Canva. I would tape them onto people's food bags, like McDonald's and stuff. I'm visiting like 30 homes a day. That's like 30 leads that I can put a flyer on. Right. And I started like thinking this guerrilla mindset, and I got a shit ton of Canva papers, posted them on these bags every time I dropped it off. And it said like, hey, you don't know me and you probably don't care, but just by dropping off your food like this, I've been able to make $6,000 a month in a time that most people are getting laid off. Most people are not able to leave their house. And I just want to let you know that this exists. Here's a QR code you can scan while you eat. If you want to watch something, it's me explaining like what I do. And there's a free, it was like a $1 course just to give to them. It was cheap, but not free. And I ended up going up to 5 because I still thought I was robbing people for their time. Like, oh my God, $5. And I started getting people in like Utah, Idaho. I don't think it was ironically anyone that actually lived in Hawaii.
Like big cities, right?
But when people like, I guess they like, yo, bro, I remembered that thing you sent me in my food, and I looked into your course, and they said the only reason I got it was because I got laid off, so I remembered that, and then I started making $300 a day, and I want to thank you, and I was changing people's lives for $5. It was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's so intelligent.
Then I started. So the things that I had going on in Hawaii, while I didn't know anything, I knew how to flip because I did reselling shoes and I resold stuff on Walmart and stuff. Facebook. but I would go to Walmart and buy stuff to flip on Facebook. Just mano, like fucking not thinking anything about scaling. I ended up using the money from Uber Eats to get a car that I put on Turo that paid my rent. That was cool. Another $2,000 car. It was a 2011 Hyundai Accent. And I just cleaned it every time it went in and out. Made sure it was super nice. I got a little lockbox so I can automate it, and I text them the code. And so that was giving me $900 profit a month. Reselling stuff like weights and pools and stuff from Walmart was giving me a few grand there. And I just started trying to do something. Meanwhile, those 10 hours a days, that 10-hour days that I was doing on Uber, I was just listening to podcasts like Social Proof Podcast, EYL, just the things that I could get my hands on. It was pretty basic stuff, but it was just like the input, right? Reading, listening to books on Audible, doing whatever I fucking could. Once it was Marcus Barney that I can chalk it up to, because him 500 was the one that I heard talking about credit the most. Sounded unrealistic to me, but he at least let me look into the space. And I was like, dude, this is 10 times better than what I was doing saving up my pennies. I was like, if I know what I want to use the money for, I'm going to get this credit. And so I started really going deep on just learning only about credit. Got my own, personally, like my first $250,000 in credit. And I didn't speak about it to anybody. I just wanted to have firsthand receipts before I talked about it on social. So I was just blank, pulled up to the space in like January of 2021 with that, rebranded to Mr. Credit Gems and all that. Once I realized that, I was going to learn it for myself so I can go into e-commerce or whatever. But the space alone is this minefield to a lot of people that said, whoa, I can have a whole career just helping people get to where I got. And that's when the light bulb clicked, because I love teaching, and I was going to do a videography course and stuff like that because I love teaching. But then I thought that's not the most impact that I can give to the masses. I thought everyone needs to learn about this credit shit, even if you don't want to go that hard to do the business funding and the travel hacking and stuff. I was like, everyone has a social. Everyone needs a car and a house, most likely, to get approved for anything. I said, this is where I want to be, because this is almost basically a commodity, just like toothpaste. Like, everyone needs to use it. So, well, they should. But when it all clicked to me, and then that's when I turned into Mr. Credit Gems, straight from RV3 Productions, which was my old page. Crazy switch up. Everyone thought like, yo, how's the video stuff going? I'm like, I don't do that anymore. People were shocked because they saw how deep I was into the entertainment space. But that wasn't going to be for me. It was going to be for the likes and the comments if I kept doing that. And I could sense it, and I'm glad I did. I'm glad I made the move and took the risk. And that's where I came from.
That's cool, and it totally has paid off for sure.
Definitely. Oh yeah, dude, it's crazy. I could even go back into the space now with the knowledge that I know. Yeah. Imagine turn the fuck up with a whole content creation space if I wanted to, right? Right. But credit gives you the option, which is great. It's insane.
Sick. Yeah. Actually, I wanted to bring something up. I realized you graduated out of college, right?
I did, yeah.
And you did too.
I did.
We're the two dropouts.
Wow.
So here's the thing, though. Like that, we only dropped out because there was something else for us out there.
Right.
And you were a 4.0 student. Yeah. By my senior year, I was a 4.0 student too.
There you go.
So I think there's a sort of correlation. Like I'm not the type of person to shit on schools. I hate the educational system in America. I think it needs to be fixed.
Facts.
However,
also agree.
However, I feel like when you mix an entrepreneur spirit plus like the love of learning.
Yes.
Oh my fucking God, dude.
I believe in education. Yeah. We both believe in education.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I believe in education too.
Just not the schooling
Not
system.
the U.S. education system.
Right. Well,
to clarify.
And I've noticed that like we're all for those testaments. We're all we were good students, and we're just ambitious as fuck as an entrepreneur at the same time. And that's what like literally has led me to where I'm at.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Were you because for me, I know when I was in school, I was not an outside the box thinker. That was pretty later on.
Right. No, but I think here's the thing though, like because I've met people who are hardworking, right? Mexicans that are hardworking, but they don't cap things. Like, right, so they're highly ambitious, but they're not as educated. So their speed for learning new things is a lot slower, and they don't make those aha connections that they need, right? Because you can give someone the same information, and it's just not gonna click in here.
My dad always says, "A mí ya me dejó este mundo," because too much technology.
Right.
But before we proceed, I want to bring something up. You dropped out of school.
Yeah.
And this is a little personal, but I think it's totally fine. What does your mom do?
Mom's a teacher. Before that, she was a daycare provider.
So your mom is a teacher. Did you ever feel pressure in school to be the smart kid in class because your mom is a teacher? Who knew that your mom was a teacher?
Hardly anybody, because it was a different district. But my parents said, you know what? This is your job. You better be front of the class, arms crossed. This is the only thing you have to do in life. So you better do it well, because otherwise it's like you're not showing up to work, you know?
It's actually, yeah.
So I had that pressure on me, but it was for a different reason. It was just for, this is all you got, so do your best. But I am glad that they did that to me, because
Correct.
I couldn't get anything extra in life besides obviously like food and clothes and stuff if I didn't have A pluses all around the board. So that came from obviously her being in the space, you know, like the teachers are wanting you to get perfectionist tendencies. But my mom agrees, especially now, like going in, she's probably taught for 8 years ish in the district that she's in, that it's not always about just knowing what bubble to fill in, right? It's about critical thinking, and like that is what she's noticed is fucked up about the school system, is they can't. With
It's all multiple choice questions.
Standardized.
Yeah.
But yes,
Cool.
yeah.
Awesome.
And really
Thanks
quick,
for sharing, Gems.
Yeah.
one of the things that I want to talk about, ask you actually, Gems, before
Yeah.
we go into any of the topics, really quick. On the previous podcast, we talked about this, how we started off with credit, right? You know, some people have excellent credit, or when they started off,
Yeah.
some people literally had bad credit, you know, like what was their situation?
I didn't have anything negative, and my parents, thankfully, unlike I hear a lot of stories from immigrant households that they get their social mistreated by a family member. I had a blank slate. I actually introduced the idea of like authorized users and stuff when I read about it to my parents, and they didn't know what it was. They're like, I'm not co-signing for anything. Da, da, da. I'm like, it's not a co-sign. It's just, it's going to give me something to have generated on my score. And I thought it was like, oh my God, this is such a hack. Obviously, we know now it's not really
it's
anything.
not.
But it gave me something so
Was
that I
at
could
one
get
point.
approved. Huh?
Was at one point.
Yeah, better. Way long ago. But it's a fraction of the power that it used to be. But it gave me a score, which was great. Then I went to Chase. I think I got the Chase Freedom first. And then I got the Blue Business Plus.
Which is
but
an excellent card.
all just shooting blindly. I didn't know what I was doing. I did not think of it as a chess game, which it actually is, right? The things you do have major consequences down the line for what you want to do. So you have to know your end goal first, which obviously we could talk about. In life, you got to do that. But you can't just skate through it. So that's what, and that perfectionist tendency that I had, like video games, school, I would always try to find everything that was possible to get the 100%, just cause.
A completionist.
The completionist, exactly.
Okay,
So
yeah.
when I saw that in the credit
Is
space,
that a real word?
Yeah.
I believe it. Yeah,
It is.
that's
It
probably
is.
the word that I should be
I'm
using.
like that too. I'm a
Yeah.
perfectionist too.
I want to know every Easter egg.
Exactly.
Every
I
yeah.
need, and you're
I'm
like
the same way.
you're in a video game and you got to do all the fucking side quests
Look
first.
at every corner.
and then
yeah.
Look at all the trophies too.
Yeah.
gotta
I need the
fuck-
platinum trophy, the best. So
There we
then,
go.
but yeah. So before that though, I was watching like Graham Stephan videos telling me to
Oh
get
my
a
God.
$200
this
secured
guy.
credit card.
Or
and I was
no,
like, fuck.
get put your money, dude. I was telling you the other night. I have a relationship with a bank for so many years now. You want to take a guess? It's called
I know what it's called.
Redneck Bank.
Redneck.
Redneck.
Redneck Bank. Yeah, dude. And it was a bank that Stephen Graham was promoting years ago because they gave you a whopping 1.7 per API on your money.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, I gotta get it. I think there's still like a few $100 in there
Oh,
that
man.
I've had it on my to-do list to call and figure
Cancel
out,
or
like
whatever.
cancel and
Right.
just take my money out.
I was in that mode too, and that's why I realized the videos with the millions of views telling you do the simple dumb shit like everyone else is not the ones you want to listen to
Right.
because it's crazy. Yeah,
It's
but
popular at first.
I got screwed with a $250 limit and I think a $500 limit for my first 2 cards, thinking I was killing it. And obviously, we could talk about comparable credit.
Right,
That
yeah.
was annoying, and
I
it
know,
fucked me up.
man.
And-
I get in so many conversations that like people tell me, I have good credit, and I'm like, oh.
Because Credit Karma says I have a
Yeah.
730
No.
here.
Yeah. They're like, no, and they have so many like the Uber. When I flew here for this time, I took an Uber from my house to the airport, and
How much was that?
I don't.
Why?
Because he never knows the price.
I never know the price or
yeah,
anything.
yeah.
I don't know. Well, anyways, he was talking like, where you going? Da 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 da. And he was like, and I was like, oh, so I'm in the credit space. he goes like, "Oh, that's cool, awesome." I'm like, "Yeah." So we start talking a little bit about him, and he mentions like, "Yeah, I got like one or two credit cards. Like I'm making my payments, boosting my credit score." I'm like, "That's not how it works." Like he thinks like every single payment he makes is like point increase. I was like, "Doesn't work like that."
I've heard some crazy myths.
I know it's just insane. Like it's just cringy after a while. It's like, oh, this is insane how much miscommunication there is about credit and how it works. But yeah, no, that's the whole point to this podcast, anyways.
Yeah,
this is why we're doing what we do. So, but yeah, awesome. So let's actually get to the topic before
Let's actually talk how we met first, because that's actually funny.
Which one? Wait.
How we all
yes,
okay.
actually
that's a strong one of our strongest points. Obviously, is any and every guest that we decide to bring on,
we personally met. Right.
I don't think we've interviewed anybody. All three of us haven't met.
Correct.
And I think that's a very strong point. Unless our guest knows all three of us, whether we can or all can't make it, that's it. So go ahead and how did you meet Credit Jacker?
Through you, right?
Let's start with you because
I think you were the catalyst.
Yeah.
So
always
through a group chat, because we were in similar credit groups, right? Met you, started talking to you about you were like starting your course. I was giving you some advice. You let me look at it. We started sharing game back and forth. But somehow I pulled up here. I would forget if it was for an event or what, but I think I was just out here for maybe 2-3 days. It was only supposed to be.
Yeah, it was something short.
Yeah, and then we chopped it up. We had food. That's when you told me I was cutting my dick off with the course prices and stuff like that. And then
keep in mind, this is the first. We were actually talking for about a year on Instagram.
Yeah.
So I don't know who slid into whose DMs, but
it was professional too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that happened. I was there for a couple days. You asked me if I could drop you off at the airport. And then I was like, well, I don't have a car while I'm out here. You're like, you can use my car. And I was like, oh, that's cool, but how am I going to park it at your house? And then, because it was a gated, area, and you were like, you know what? Here, you could just have my house keys too if you want. And he was like, you can stay there if you want or not. I mean, it's your call. And then you were like, I'm actually going to be gone for a few weeks, so if you want, I mean, you could. And there were no dogs or anything at the time, so I was just actually chilling here. And that was cool as fuck. But crazier to think that it was the first day you met me. You were like, if you want. And I was like, sure.
After 45 days, and the reason why is because, you know what, I was just thinking, the dude is dope. I've been talking to him for 1 year plus. Like,
right.
We've been chopping it up, not talking, but we've been, chopping it up about, like yada, 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 about what we do.
Yeah.
And then after 45 minutes, I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and take the leap and take the risk. If he screws me over, I'm going to have to live with the consequences.
It would be dumb. And in my head, I thought, you gotta, because I know your bullshit radar was on point. You're always like telling me.
I don't eat that bull.
So then when you trusted me like that, obviously I was honored, and I was like, well, then he knows that it would be stupid to run off for some small shit or to try and pull anything, right? And I respect it because I always give people the benefit of the doubt first. As long as that doesn't go off in my head, that they're clearly a red flag, I'll be like, you know what? It's easier to trust you and then work off of that, because it's better to have 3 people that you can trust blindly than to have 15 people that could stab you in the back at any moment and you don't know. Sure. So I appreciate it. I respect it.
Yeah.
And it was crazy to think about, because if you told somebody else, I think you did tell somebody, like, yeah, I barely know him, but I gave him my keys in my car. How's my car? And
you told me the same story like the next day.
Wait, didn't we go traveling together?
Yes.
We were actually, this was in August or September.
Yeah.
This was either in August or September, because that's when I went on my 45-day hiatus for 2022. August 2nd through September 14th, which is actually a lot. It wasn't 45 days. It was like 44. But I always say 45, nice round number. It was during that time I actually came back for, I want to say, maybe 18 hours. I just came home, I slept, and then he dropped me off at the airport, gave him the keys. He had fast Wi-Fi, one of the biggest benefits.
It's a great Airbnb.
My car, a free Airbnb, my car, my apartment. But what...
Funny your part. Do you want to talk about the credit cards situation?
Oh, yes.
Day two, he's working on this 2 million point hack, and he goes, bro, I forgot some of my credit cards in my drawer in my desk. Can you go grab them for me and take a photo of the front and the back? And I was like, you want me to go through your drawer and get all your credit card details pictured to send to you? And it's day 2. He goes, yeah, if you could, that would be great.
So yeah, I think we've established that that the approval goes through me.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
of course it's like I already knew I wasn't. There was no risk for me, really.
Right.
There really was no risk for me, but I got the picture of my credit card. I think 7.
It was like a bunch. I
It
laid
was
out on
7
the
credit
bed.
cards that I needed. Yeah, and it was like, no, it was
I
6.
just
So 1,
put
2,
them
3,
all,
4, and
I
then 1,
flipped
2,
them.
and then yeah,
Funny though, but yeah, I mean that's how much trust we had off the bat. So
right
that's
off the bat.
Amazing.
pretty cool. And then met you because you came down here.
That is correct. So actually,
The strongest point. What happened January 14th?
What did happen?
January 14th.
January
Like
14th.
of this year?
Of this year, yes, of course. I know we don't remember what we ate yesterday, but what happened January 14th? You know what you did.
The queen died? I don't
No,
know.
what did you do? You
What
moved
did I
in.
do? Oh, that's right. Yeah.
January 14th. Gems officially
Yeah.
moved in to my apartment
Had a
because
good opportunity window, and it worked out. Yeah. So
we definitely push each other. So that's dope.
it's cool. Glad to be here.
So then, okay, so you went on this trip, right? For like, where'd you go? Mexico, and then you had to come back.
Yeah.
I went to August 2nd. Fui a las fiestas, right? We went to the fiestas of my parents' pueblo, and then from there I came back, and then I know I went to Houston.
Okay, when you came back from Houston, then I came here to Vegas, and that's when I met James.
I met you before you left, right?
I met him like a day because I was here in Vegas for
Yeah.
like 2-3 days before we flew out to New York. Remember?
Yes.
So and then that's where.
And then that's where I
we
met.
linked up.
Yeah, we met. Yeah.
So at that point, he was telling me like, oh yeah, there's this guy. He's super dope. You're gonna really like him. I was like, okay, sure. And then he was telling me everything that happened. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I was like,
That's
what the
probably
hell?
everybody right now. Like, this guy really gave him his
Yeah,
keys.
No, and that's
To
the
his
thing.
house
Even
and
when
apartment.
I first met you, you've been always welcoming and warm, and like, hey, bro, here's my house. Here's the keys. Here's
But I need you
everything."
guys to understand, I don't do that to everybody.
right. No, I know that.
There's
Exactly.
a hard test.
Yeah.
There is a hard
And that's
test.
what I tell people. I don't know what test it was and how I passed it, but I'm here, you guys. Yeah,
Still alive.
they're still alive. So
Everybody here is still alive.
So then, yeah, you leave. Actually, you left. You had to go home right to your parents.
Yeah.
Real quick, and then it was just you and me here.
In my apartment.
Yeah, and then we just started talking, and then we just started talking. You were thinking about releasing the course,
Right.
and so we were like here talking
Yeah, on the
for
couches
a
here.
while
Long ass time.
about just business life and shit. And I was like, I see what Eddie's talking about. I fuck with this kid.
Yeah.
And then literally, just took you out the
Yeah.
entire
Went to sushi
yeah.
or a Korean barbecue, and then we.
What was it?
introduced
Sushi or Korean
It
barbecue?
was
Well-
KBBQ. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, I mean, like we went to
888?
multiple places.
Yeah.
There
It
you
was
go.
like two days.
It was Dylan. Who else was there? Yeah, I met a few people there.
So yeah, and
That's
then-
cool.
And then for me, we literally just met like 5 hours ago. But
Oh,
See, the
barely.
thing-
In person, yeah.
No, like in
Oh,
person,
in
yes.
person. Oh,
But
yeah.
the thing is, that.
But I felt like I've known him for a while.
Yeah, see, that's the thing.
Same
Like, we've
thing
been talking back and forth, but
Where in the DMs?
in the DMs, yeah.
On Tinder.
On Tinder.
Go.
But the thing is, that I've been trying to, like, link
Connect.
up with him,
Yeah,
because he was always in Vegas. But the thing was, like, when I was in Vegas, it was just me and Eddie, right? And then Eddie tells me, hey, like, James is here. Come through. I'm like, but I can't. So, like, it's always this thing, like, it's just bad timing,
So
but
whose fault is that? No, I'm kidding. No, you know what? Hey, when the grind is up, when the grind...
It's hard actually to get us all together because our
Yeah.
schedules are not fucking
facts.
9 to 5.
Very different, yeah.
We got people waking up at 4 p.m. We got people waking up at 1 p.m. Hey, but in Vegas,
no,
makes
it's
it work.
crazy.
if it's with
crazy.
us,
When
you're going to hate Vegas.
Now,
But you're going to love it.
you got no excuse because I live with him now. So yeah,
Exactly,
you know where
yeah.
I'm
No
at.
excuse.
Well, the funny
There we
thing
go.
is that it was happening to us too. Like I would message
Yeah,
them
same
sometime
thing.
for like a
Exactly.
year, and then I went to the event with Elvis and Upland,
Mo,
and
yeah.
I saw you, bro, but I was like, well, I don't know if that's guy. I'm not gonna go randomly
Right,
to
right,
that
yeah.
one guy,
It's funny.
and then you said like, yeah, I saw you, but I had some things to Mo, and then finally in New York I meet you. But yeah, dude, it's just like Like we're very close. We just miss everybody by like
Yeah.
a day or two.
For some reason,
yeah.
I'm always around though.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. So, all right, we need to get
The
into
3 bullet questions.
Yeah, let's get into the
Okay,
topics.
so-
Let's go.
Perfect. So,
4.
one of the first questions that we get asked a million times is how to turn your credit into cash. So, we want to definitely talk about a little bit of how we do this. And but I know Alexis.
I hate this question.
Yeah, I know.
But we'll explain
yeah,
it.
he's already dying over here.
I don't want to share.
I mean,
but
yeah, the concepts. A lot of people relate it to manufacturer spending. Some people relate it to how to get literal cash liquidated
Yeah,
off the card.
correct.
But I meant it in the sense of like, where do you go use credit to make money, right?
Okay, gotcha. So everybody listening and watching this, like the reason why it's really hard for credit people to disclose how they turn credit into cash is because first of all, it's really not liked by the banks. The
Right.
banks do not like you
Correct.
doing that because it's a huge risk to the banks. So and for I can talk multiple reasons why, but at the end of the day, they might make it so hard for that to happen. So if we were to just like freely publicize these methods, it would be where we're gonna see a shutdown.
It's essentially a bank run. It's the
Right.
same thing as people
So-
taking cash
okay.
out of the bank.
Yeah.
right?
So yes. So at the end of the day, the reason why there's a $600 cash limit on
Those cards.
you know what you're talking about, right?
we're not gonna disclose
No,
it.
No, no need.
There's limits to these, right? To these things, and the reason why they do it is because at the end of the day, you're trying to turn something, the credit that is created out of thin air,
on a ledger. Yeah,
right?
it's
On just a computer code,
Numbers on the
with
screen.
something that is actually printed and manufactured by trees, ink, by people and shit like that,
By
right?
the Federal
So-
Reserve.
Exactly, the Federal Reserve. So you're trading nothing into something, and you're eventually going to run out of something, right? So again, that would be an instant bank run. If everybody, the bank just told everybody, hey, you know, all those hundreds of $1,000s in credit limits that you guys have, yeah, just come into the bank and you can turn it into cash real quick.
Everybody
Our
would do it.
entire economic system will collapse in a few seconds. So this is why, again, they make it extremely hard. Now, there is certain methods like manufacturer spending and other stuff that we cannot talk about. But at the end of the day,
Please.
yes. So I mean, like we do educate people on how to do this. But once you join our mentorships and stuff like that. But
That's the one thing that I do hold behind closed doors.
Right.
Almost everything else, I'm free game. If I
Right.
have the
Right.
time, I will explain it to somebody. Right.
correct. So, but yeah, okay. So great question. Once you have the money, once you have the credit, once you have the money, what are leveraging opportunities that someone can take to just either make money or get their business started, whatever it may be.
I wonder if you guys all agree with this
No.
tweet that I saw.
No.
We'll see. Great minds think alike. So let's see. I just posted this in my mindset channel on Discord.
Yeah.
Alex Ramosi had put a tweet out. It said, "quote the thing that people ask the most: what niche should I pick?" Right? And he said, "the one you can help the most." And I agree with that. There's millions of ways to make $1.
Yes.
So it's not about, well, what's the one thing that you can tell me that's the best way to make money? Right. It's about where do you direct your passion and your focus to? Because what brings money is value. And the only way you can get value immensely is if you have mastery in a certain lane. So if there's just a mechanic that knows exactly how to change your oil in the fastest way, he will probably get paid more than all the other mechanics because he has mastery in a certain thing. For those people that want a fast oil change, or he can work on a certain type of car, it's a lane of mastery. So it's an annoying question because it's like, dude, there's so many things you can focus on.
There's so many things. Yeah.
My challenge is, would you much rather do something that you can help the most of, or do something you're most passionate of doing?
That's how you're gonna help the most people, when you're the most passionate in your lane.
Okay, perfect.
I think it just really does depend because a lot of people are very passionate about, like, here's the thing. When I first started like entrepreneurship, I was very passionate about a lot of things. Sure. I'm still very passionate about the whole restaurant industry. Like you guys know my past. Like to be honest with you, I still believe that I can probably fuck up an entire restaurant industry more than I can still do with credit. As is today. I was in there for almost 7 years.
I'll
so.
be a sole investor.
Right? No, yeah, we're gonna go crush it. But again, that's not the where I can help out the most people right now.
Not right now.
Right?
It's definitely a project.
Correct.
But it's also that the skills you've learned, you can now basically kill it in whatever you decide to put all your energy into.
Correct. I mean, like as long as those skills are applicable, right?
Yeah.
So the skills of managing a team, being able to train people how to speak to an employee and
Deal with problems.
and deal with problems. It's something that I'm taking from the restaurant business and how I was implement and able to spend 3 months in the Philippines and be able to like niche down and like train them one-on-one and help them out as much as possible. But again, so it's really hard because again, I tell this to everybody: the very first investment everybody should be making is into themselves. They just need to bring up their value. We were talking about that. Somebody got pissed off on your Instagram for saying that. It's like, but it's the truth. At the end, I'm not saying that there's people that don't have value. That's not true. I guess
There's value in life. Obviously,
yes, there's value in life. This is why we protect it. This is why we believe it's so sacred. But at the same time,
to the marketplace, it's different.
But value you can monetize.
The economy, there's multiple marketplaces, and you need to choose a market where there's a lot of money to be made, and you can provide value. And you have to be somewhat passionate about, right? Because yes, I was passionate about YouTube creation. I was passionate about photography for a long time. I was thinking of actually doing photography for a really long time, but then it was just like, I'm not. I don't see the value. I don't see the goal. I didn't have the goal driven.
Ironically, real quick to talk about the creator space, they're very exploited because they're honestly the lifeblood of the internet, but they don't know how to handle themselves in a business. Like, I was never taught that part. Obviously, and it's in the client's best interest to get you at the lowest price. So why would they teach you how to actually get what you're worth, right? Yeah. So I like that I went away from the industry because I'm able to understand the back end of what just happened to me. I had an ad set campaign that I made. I was paid $550. It made 6 figures on its launch on all the products, which is insane.
Dude, you should have collected royalties.
Exactly, but no one fucking told me. I just thought, I don't want to lose the gig. I'm going to use this money to get a lens. Short-sighted.
And to be honest with you, for some entrepreneurs, that is better because to be honest with you, if I were to be like, yo, if you're like, for example, dude, let's try it out. Because if you say that you are as good as you say, I'll pay you initial money for your time and everything like that. And if you can produce me 6 figures, fuck yeah, I'll give you a percentage of that.
Right.
Fuck yeah. Because then
exactly.
But if the guy comes to you and they can still produce 6 figures, but they're gonna ask for way less, why would you tell him like, yo, bro, you can charge me more? Like, unless you're just being a bro and helping him out. But like, business says that's not a smart idea. So
exactly.
But not to downplay on that space, like on why I left, but I like the skills that I've learned now.
Correct.
But yeah.
Correct.
So, credit into cash. The way that I explain it is a niche that in the beginning you have to be passionate about. People hear about the whole, someone out there is collecting garbage and they make millions because they have a garbage fleet, whatever. They're not passionate about garbage. Yeah, but there's a buildup to that point. You don't just hop into a 7-figure space, right? Like he had a passion to get his ass up and fucking build a business.
Well, and that is very short-sighted because I mean, I was very passionate about making pizzas.
Right.
Yeah. If you tell me now, like, do you want to go and make pizzas? Like, no, not like. Would I rather be chilling in the beach in Cancun with my homies, making millions of dollars online? Yeah, obviously I would prefer that. But to be honest with you, I took pride in what I did, and that's something that you also have to find because you can find pride in what you did because you're bringing value to people, and you're passionate about that because you're helping people out.
Right.
So I mean, it can be a trash picking business, and guess what? They can be passionate about it.
You have to have fire behind it for sure.
Yeah.
And then working on yourself. A lot of people think that that comes from you because you have a high ticket product or you're trying to get me to buy something, right? And I tell people, you know what's funny is that I've learned some of the most impactful things buying $20 books or watching a free YouTube video. But a lot of times people have this limiting belief in their eyes that they have to go out and buy thousands and thousands of dollars worth of courses to get the initial like mindset things, which are actually the cheapest and they're the most out there, but people just are blocked to it, right? Yeah. And so when I say invest into yourself, it doesn't even have to be the dollar amount. It can be the time and the actual energy that you spend into fixing yourself and being self-aware. So like what I did while I was in Hawaii was I made a job that could give me my time back. Because I was like, I could be a waiter and make double this, triple this at an expensive restaurant because I'm good with people. But I said, where can I get my time back to just be able to put headphones in and learn and build myself? I think that's way more important in terms of spend, right? Like invest into yourself, that you need to give yourself time. People are literally distracted and busy quote unquote,
Right.
to work on themselves that way. Cause yeah,
I feel like I have to share this though. Something that I personally do for myself for two reasons to keep me humble, and something that's therapy to me is I like to sweep and mop my entire living room. Correct.
Yeah.
During that time, he's cooking, and we're not really talking, but he has his earphones on, and you have to be listening to an audio.
yeah, of course.
So it's like no wasted
I pack it
time.
in.
No.
Yeah.
Same thing with me. When I go to the gym, don't listen to music. Listen to an audiobook.
Mm-hmm.
Currently listening to.
Because I think
So you don't listen to Linkin Park when you're at the gym? No, I'm just kidding.
No.
I've known the science about that, about like having a dopamine baseline that's too high to where like if you don't have music at the gym, some people can't perform because they've given themselves that need, and it's kind of like a crutch. Like, so you have to be aware of like where you give yourself dopamine. And for me, watching certain sources of audio or like info sources is to keep me on track, because we're forgetful as fuck, and we need to literally have it in our face constantly. So like even if it's the same book, just reading it once a week or a chapter of it that I really need, it's
Right.
like using it like that, because focus is the most expensive or the most like coveted thing right now, because it's so hard to have in this fucking social media world. Like
In this world full of distractions, and it's not even just social media. It's your people hitting you up for what's tomorrow for Taco Tuesday, or
Thirsty Thursdays.
Trying to scatter
or
your
let's get
focus.
fucked up Fridays.
there's always something.
It definitely is always something. So
But investing in Alex says the S&Me 500. Alex Ramosi.
S&P 500.
Yeah,
S&P.
it's true. Yeah, yeah.
What, come on,
It's the
S&P.
S&P and the stocks and
Right,
the
yeah.
S&Me.
Yes,
I would agree with that 100%. If I would have, right, so people can get 100K in student loans, but if you had 100K to work on yourself, right, not get scammed, but 100K to, fuck it, if that's just going to cover food and living expenses so you can go study internship or apprenticeship or whatever, that's infinite ROI, because you're building yourself. No one can take that from you.
Big pharma facts.
big pharma facts, which is actually kind of funny that you say that. A lot of times people ask me, well, back when I was in high school or college, people still hit me up and they're like, well, it seems like you're doing so well. Seems. Anyways. Well, it seems like you're doing so well. What should I do? What should I invest in? What would you tell your 21-year-old self? I always tell them, invest in something that gives you infinite ROI. What is that? You figure that out. I already give you that advice. So what do you guys think you guys have done to invest in yourselves that are giving you guys infinite ROI?
Definitely working out.
Yeah.
Yeah, like working out, taking care of your body.
Taking care of your body, that's key.
I'll pay for extra health, because at the end of it, when you finish the money problem, that's all you have to
Yeah,
focus
that's
on.
literally what billionaires spend their money on.
Yeah.
That's all billionaires spend their money on, is just their health. Because if they could pay to live longer, they would.
Right. Yep.
Health before wealth, as they say.
Bill Gates said that what his biggest fear is for his brain to stop working. Imagine like being that fucking smart, that knowledgeable, and you like, I worked out this fucking muscle for 90 something years, and it's just gonna one day stop.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Right. So I mean, health is very, very important, you guys. And it's something that I'm trying to like just focus on this year as well, because one of them is sleep, and I'm just horrible with sleep. I'm so bad with sleep because my brain is fucking constantly firing. Like
I had that too.
right.
You're better.
What?
You're
no,
better.
no, I'm the worst.
No.
here.
He's doing better.
I can. Well, one thing I've learned, I don't go heavy into saying like you have to meditate, but to be able to control your wave of thoughts is a very powerful thing. Because like we have crazy sleep schedules, but like if I put in a room to where I'm like, I know I have to sleep right now, I can shut down my body, and I've like worked on that for years. It's a muscle for sure.
Wow.
I speak about that the mind, it literally is a muscle, and so you can't just pull up to the gym the first time and expect to be benching fucking heavy weight. Like you're a weakling, so you have to start with the bar, but it's a process, because if you don't do any reps, you're not gonna get better.
Perfect.
But yeah,
so just focus on every aspect of your life. So this is why, like, remember, I even talked about this in a different podcast. There's 5 things in my life that I want to focus on every single year, and a lot of it is my physical health, communication, language, just trying to become an overall better person. Trying to get all the side quests of my life right now, video games sort of deal.
Side quest.
So
What have you invested on that gives you infinite ROI?
So for me, I think obviously, I think it's credit, because a lot of it,
You make money.
you can make money, but the thing is, like credit, you can take it in so many ways. There's e-commerce, you can even do a real estate with it. There's so many avenues that you can take. So
It's the
really,
core
it's a foundation of
Yeah.
any
business.
business model. You can use your own money, sure, right? But who wants to do that? There's a concept of other people's money. Why use your own money when you can use the bank's money?
Right.
You just have to be smart about it. So that's the thing. But I firmly believe, that credit is the biggest foundation in any business model. So honestly, for me, like learning credit and mastering it has paid its dividends. And for me, like
You even get incentivized with the point system, miles or
Exactly.
hotel points to travel. And I think one of the craziest things, one of the most idiotic, most retarded things that people accept is going on vacation for 1 week a year, and occasionally getting holiday pay or getting either
PTO.
Oh,
and-
no.
Oh.
Not even that. Either you get the holidays off or you get holiday pay. You have a choice. And it's like, I used to be the one. I'm not really into like celebrating holidays. So I always used to choose to work. And it's like,
Same here.
I would see, just an additional $35, $40 in a paycheck. Of course,
And it's gonna be taxed
it's
more.
gonna be taxed, yeah. It's almost like
Right.
it's gone, right? But anyways, I think this entrepreneur thing. We're on vacation. I can't even count how many days. Just know,
It's different though, because it's
Yeah.
24/7 work at the same
yeah,
time. so-
January. But it's cool because you get a different. You're
Of
at a
course,
different
you-
office
you have
every.
more.
I literally just spoke about this yesterday. I was telling someone that because they were like, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur, but I'm scared. I'm what
Which is fine.
And which is
I mean-
good. And I was telling them when I first started and I said yes for the very first time,
Yeah.
I was shitting bricks. I told yes to the very first client, and I done it before, but I was just not confident in myself. And then once you get those results, this wave of confidence just comes in. I'm like, cool.
You're
That's
like,
what I
you
can
know
do.
what? Yeah, this is possible. I remember
a
making my
compound
first $1. Yeah, I was like, you know what? This is possible. But yeah, let's go ahead and.
sorry.
Did you have
Stop
something
it.
to add?
One
or-
more thing I was going to say, when people say I'm scared or they don't want to actually take initiative to be an entrepreneur, David Shands, who runs the Social Proof podcast, said that he deliberately tries to get people unmotivated to be an entrepreneur because the ones that can get shaken off that easy don't
Are not.
actually want it. So he's like, you're better off. You just avoided so much fucking trouble and trials
Failure.
of not actually wanting it. You don't actually want it. The people that would be listening to all that warnings from him and still want it are the ones that will do it scared, and they're the ones that are able to muscle through that.
That's
I think that was
smart.
interesting. Yeah, I was.
It's crazy. Right before I'd taken students for Amazon FBA, I always do an informative call, which is free. I drop gems, some free game, and I always tell them, this Amazon FBA is not a pretty picture, but it definitely does pay. People see I do well, yada, yada, yada. And then I tell them, if you guys want to go ahead and join, cool. If you guys don't, it's perfectly fine. And I always get people that, sign up for the mentorship, and those are the ones that do well. And I learned quickly that is the way to go. Now, if you get scared easily, if you shake when you spend money, I remember I used to be scared of breaking hundreds, right? Trust me, it's fun to swipe the card. But let's go ahead and
All right,
to
perfect.
close.
So the next thing we were supposed to talk about is finding people that are truly passionate about
The
what they
difference.
do.
Us being
Right.
able to do 7-hour, 10-hour
Yeah.
calls.
So quick backstory why we brought this up. The reason is because I'm highly passionate about credit. So I'm very thankful that I found something that I can talk about for hours and provides value to people, right? And I've been to a few mastermind or a few events when they asked me to speak. They asked me to do this for a group, like a course that they're selling. And every single time I get on it, it's like an hour in. They're like, "Hey," I get a text message like, "Hey, let's wrap it up." Like, "Oh, let's let's keep it under an hour or an hour and a half.
You
And
wouldn't even-
it pisses, okay, it doesn't piss me off because I don't get mad easily, but it does bother me
Okay.
because like, bro, it's like me bringing Alex Hermosi and be like, hey, Alex, can you wrap it up for under an hour?
Like
that.
I'm just on here dancing or some shit. Like
Right.
it's not valuable.
Yeah,
Like,
so exactly.
wanna
It's
get-
like, dude, that is the most retarded thing ever.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you want that person to just drop value after value and just long as possible. Like, cool, people can't hang. Hey, people have a life. It's fine. I totally get it. Go do your thing. It's gonna be recorded anyways, right?
Maybe.
No, well, they were. So they were
For
recorded.
us, yes.
So it's like
Not everybody.
It really bothers me. It's like, how are you not that passionate about
that you want to go hard.
like, dude, you're having a speaker that is literally just giving you value for free, and then you're saying let's wrap it up. Like, how, like, dude. And so here's the thing. After I met you, you were back in LA working on your stuff, and I was very proud of you releasing everything. And I heard how much money you were making. Very proud of you. And I know Wes she told me, oh, I'm actually in the course.
She joined.
Right? So she joined, she paid you and everything, which is dope. A friend supporting a friend. And that's what I tell people too. Like, it's really kind of,
And she's super grateful, and
Right.
she'll tell you.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I always want to pay my friends as much as possible for whatever services and things that they give me, or at least give them value back somehow, right?
It's
Value
value
for value,
for value.
right? So I was asking her, like, how is it, like, all this stuff. She told me, man, they're on that Zoom call, like, but she wasn't complaining. She was like, dude, they're very passionate about credit. They're on that Zoom call for, like, the longest one was 6 hours. All I said was, bet. Let's do this. Like, I was like, fucking my brain, I was like, finally found my group.
Yeah.
I finally found the fucking people that like talking about credit, and they're down to learn, and it doesn't matter how long it takes, but they're gonna be.
And I thought he was gonna say, because he said, "Hey, is it true you go for like 6 hours on the calls?" And I thought he was gonna be like, "I'm not gonna do that shit for you." I was like, "No, we don't really like. You can make it 2 hours if you want." And then he did a 180. He was like, "Oh no, because I'm gonna go for like 6 hours." I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, I literally hit you back up, and I was like, hey man, because this was already said, it was already in the plan in the books, like for a month in, right? And then I call you after she says that, and I was like, hey, so and so just told me that this and that, and I was like, no, because no, I want to talk for fucking hours, and I promised you, I'm gonna do more than
The
6
longest,
hours.
yeah.
I'm gonna be the longest person you're gonna have in there.
It was nonstop fire too.
So I got on this call at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I ended the call at 3 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So it was a 10-hour call.
Dang.
No stop. I was stuck in my room. I forgot to bring water. Had no water. No break.
Food?
No food, no break, and
That's good for
and I
fasting.
was just recovering from being sick. Which again, I feel like I'm sick.
Yeah.
Which is it's too much traveling. Bro.
Too hard.
I'm going too hard on this. But yeah, man. So that's what I was like. I was telling you 2 nights ago. The only person that will partner up for credit, to do like a mastermind group thing together, will be you.
Appreciate it.
Because you are like the only other one that I've noticed that is willing to go hard as fuck. Long as like you went no travel November instead of not November, you
exactly,
did no
bro.
travel November.
In my office, all day,
every day, live. You went on lives every single day consecutively. I've been so bad at that. I've been wanting to do that for a long time, and I've not even been consistent on that for like 2 days. So
we even talked about like because I learned this from Alex Ramosi, the unscalable shit, which I'm doing right now in the beginning. Like I gave everybody a one-on-one for like 2 hours. Like that's not something you should do technically on paper to get your margins all nice. But I'm like, you know what? I'm trying to go deep with this group.
Right.
You give me a lot of advice on like automating and delegating shit, but I know I can get scrappy because I'm like, it has to be done or I want to see it done well. So yeah, but appreciate it.
No,
you
of course,
seeing that. Yeah.
of course, bro. But so that's what I feel like. You guys got to find people that are willing. Like if you guys go up to somebody and go like, "Hey, I got a question about so and so," they're like, "Oh, not right now." Like fuck that person. Like to be honest with you, if you guys can catch me anytime, I'm super down to talk about credit.
If I see hungry people, I'll serve. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
But cool. Now.
Oh, is there such thing as too much credit?
Yeah.
If we're gonna get into that, I get that question a lot. So.
Okay, so another one that we always that people don't know. Actually, I don't. Do you actually get asked this a lot?
Yeah.
Really? Okay. I don't think I get asked this
Because a lot of people, you might hear, well, I don't want too many cards because.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Annual fees. They're scared of annual
That
fees.
or
They're scared of,
I only need a couple thousand.
People that are afraid of annual fees are the ones that aren't maximizing their.
Of course, right. Annual fees is another thing. That's just being penny pinchers.
Their benefits, because I can promise you one thing and one thing only. There isn't a credit card that I have where I don't take full advantage of it.
Correct.
There isn't.
Yeah, I make a profit on all my annual fees.
Correct. Yeah. So it's like really, really dumb. Now, if you are that type of person that, again, yes, this entrepreneurship life is not for everybody. If you're like, hey, I'm 9 to 5, I get it. They have a really good paying job. They're solid. They have retirement. They're like, hey, I just want a nice car, a nice house, 2-3 credit cards for groceries, and call it a day. Perfect. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah. At that point, you probably don't need a travel credit card. You don't need like X or Y and Z, depending on what you want to do.
There's no one size fits all.
But again, if you're making money and you're doing that, at least get a travel credit card so that you can then use those points to take your family out.
Yeah. Once a week. Yeah. I mean, once a year.
That's so common. Yeah. Once a week is common for us. I actually, this year alone, I have not been in my house for more than
half
a 10 days probably.
That's insane. That's
so
you know what's crazy right now that I just made the realization. It just hit me. The people that complain about annual fees on credit cards are the people that ask for discounts on things.
On things.
And it's just like, oh well, yeah, go try to get a discount on an annual fee on your credit card. You know, it's actually possible.
It is possible.
It is possible.
But undisclosed information. So like I said, just to
So so to answer the question, is there such a thing as too much credit? Yes, there is.
So the sweet spot is what for those average people, those ones that just want good credit.
So this is according to FICO, so it's not like I'm bullshitting this at all. So FICO has a borrow behaviors. They have around 40 borrow behaviors that they analyze your credit, and those are the ways that's the factors that they analyze your credit report to give you a credit score. One of those borrow behavior factors is having too much revolving credit. Okay. So what happens is like a lot of people get into these master, credit gurus, courses and shit. And they're like, do funding sequences every 6 months. And they mix personal credit cards with business credit cards. And the problem with that is that, first of all, you're fucking your average age so down. But then they promote that. Why? Because they're like, oh, your average age went down. Hey, have some authorized users here and pay me extra more money so that you could add authorized user, which again don't even help you out on the funding process at all. So
not these days.
No, not these days. Yes, it was more beneficial, but the AUS software for the banks has been changing. Again, it changes all the time, and for the last recent 2-3 years, it's been more like they're focusing on primaries.
I think I'm gonna burn myself out and say, as long as you have a 680.
For what? And numbers behind it. If you have a 680, it's got to be revenue as well that you can prove.
No. A 680 credit score.
You're talking about the number?
I
don't like to talk about the numbers, so
I know. If you're starting off, correct? If you're starting off, everybody has a credit score, unless, but bankers, something that is solid is a 720. But I think as long as you have a 680. You're at a good start.
No, absolutely. I have clients at a 680 that are getting better approvals than somebody on a 740 because they're 18 years old and they had like 2 authorized users and that's it, right? Again, it doesn't work like that. But back to the question, yes. What the ideal spot on the personal credit side is 3 credit cards, and they have to be from top tier institutions like Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citibank. Those are top tier 1 banks.
How can you forget Amex? Come on, man.
Well, no, but
Amex is not. Amex is not a top tier bank. Here's the reason. It's
Please explain.
Yeah, for example, so the reason why is because the only tier 1 banks are backed by trillions of dollars. So they have trillions of dollars under management or assets, right? The other reason why, so Amex will fall under 2 because they have billions. of assets, and they're actually a lower level of tier 2 because they're not depository accounts. They don't have, like, for example, if another bank will take a look at your credit report and you have one Amex credit card versus a
One Chase credit card.
not even a Chase, like a, I'm trying to think,
Discover.
like a PNC credit card.
Okay.
They would prefer the PNC one because PNC has depository accounts nationwide. Where a depository account, you guys, is where there's the physical branch location you can walk into, talk to a real human being, and deposit money. Depository accounts. Can't do that with Amex. They just kind of started opening the checking account, saving account, business account, stuff like that. So they're trying to make their move up there. But again, there's only one location in Salt Lake City, I believe.
Yeah.
And that is it. Same thing with Discover. Discover, there's no depository accounts. Capital One, they have the Capital One 360. That one is tier 2 100%, but not the regular Capital One. So again, it really does depend on the type of bank you guys go to. Again, the easy example I go tell people is like, Victoria's Secret credit card is not going to look as good as a Chase credit card, right? Unless your goal is to get all the store credit cards. If your goal is to get the best rates, terms, credit limits on store credit cards, then that's what you want on your credit report. But if you're an entrepreneur like us, I wouldn't recommend that at all.
And then even for the average people that just want the house and a car situation, still not a good idea.
It's still not a good idea. Why? Because again, banks are not going to like to see like that you have a $5,000 credit limit at Victoria's Secret, because that means that you have horrible consumer behaviors.
Right? Yep. It's like, how did you get that shit that high? And the only thing you could purchase is Victoria's Secret products. That's a red flag, honestly.
So again, you guys got to focus on. So what do you guys need to look for? Build solid relationships with the top tier lenders on the personal side. On the business side, go to like every single institution that, as long as it doesn't report your personal credit, right? So go to Chase, go to Bank of America, go to the top 4, Wells Fargo or Citi, and get 3 solid credit cards from them. And I say anywhere from 3 to 5 depending on your needs, and then have them be as high as possible. Because here's the thing: as soon as the total revolving lines of credit hits $100,000, that's when that FICO factor starts popping up. Okay, the too much available revolving lines of credit. So again, pick 3 to 5, you guys. Build them over $10,000 each. That way, you guys are solid, and then stop. Then don't ever get another personal credit card ever again, because at that point, you're just gonna let those accounts age like fine wine. If
you want to be lean as possible, it's that exactly the top tier banks. I call them like the Ivy League banks,
right?
You know, correct. And then 10K limit if you can on those 3. And for people that say the 3 is even too much, I would say you have to understand that we are playing a game of credit, of factors that we're trying to abide by so we can look the best. And the motto that I say in the group is that no one's gonna applaud you for juggling one ball. It's part of credit is knowing that it's hard to do. It's hard to manage multiple lines of credit and paying on time and stuff. And that's why they're rewarding you for your credit worthiness.
Correct.
You know, so 3 to 5 is the sweet spot. And if you have, like, we haven't talked about installments, but one house, one car, even better, right?
Yeah. The other thing is like there is factors that they want you to have multiple accounts, but the ones that you're gonna have are closed accounts that there were installment loans, like the pledge loan hack that you have, which is gonna be really, really beneficial for you, because that would just give substance and total number of accounts to your credit report there. But yeah,
for sure. So most people don't need millions of fucking lines of credit on the personal side, especially just keep it lean.
Yeah, keep it clean, keep it easy. That way, banks have an easy time approving us for everything. Cool. Now, last point we want to bring up in this podcast is red flags. That way, you guys go out there and be careful of what. Because there's so many misleading information out there, or people trying to make a quick buck on credit. So there's, again, a lot of things that you guys got to be careful about. So like, I'm gonna start you off. What was one of the things that you brought up?
Well, AUs, which we could talk about, just being how
the trade line business.
Yeah, the trade line business, right? For one, I've had people that have come to me because their relationships have been shut down because they got added on to an AU that was like a dirty relationship in the past.
Hold up. Can I? So for everybody listening, again, we gotta treat them like maybe they don't.
That's right.
What is a trade line? So a trade line is anything that reports any account that reports to your credit file.
So
okay?
technically, trade lines are all lines.
Yeah, all
of
lines of credit. It can be a
But,
car loan, a primary credit card, an authorized user. It could be,
anything.
mortgage, whatever. That is a trade line.
And
Okay.
in the space, the nickname or slang that's improperly used
Correct.
is trade lines. It
Correct.
should be AU trade lines, but people cut it short and they just say trade lines.
Correct.
What they mean is authorized.
Yeah, because that's why a lot of people ask me. Oh, because this is another question that I get asked all the time. Oh, do you add trade lines? Or do you sell trade lines? And I'm like, first of all, do you? It does. I don't think you know what that is. Second of all, do you mean person? Like, do you want primary trade lines?
Of course they don't.
Do you want primary trade lines, authorized users, business trade lines? What auto loan trade lines? What do you need, right? And for what purpose, right? So so again, a lot of miscommunications. Again, trade lines, just any account that reports on your credit report. Now, most people that if they're trying to sell trade lines, they're mostly selling authorized users.
Yeah.
Which again, an authorized user is a
secondary. It's not your actual account. It's somebody else's. They're adding you onto.
Correct. So if I have a credit card and I want to have him have a copy of my credit card, specialized with his name on it, I can give it to him. I can open an authorized user position on my credit card, and now he's gonna have access to the $10,000 credit card that I have. Right.
Right.
So,
but not liability.
Now, the reason why people want to add those is because it literally boosts. It depends. So that credit file gets added on his credit report, and now my age of that credit card shows up, the credit limit shows up, the payments on time show up. So all this could be beneficial to the credit score.
It manipulates the score.
Which again, now the automatic underwriting softwares out there can catch that like this, and they're just gonna dismiss that. Okay. So, or it's going to be subject to manual review, and then somebody's going to clearly see that and then just deny you for the credit that you applied for, or just remove that account and then approve you based on what's actually a primary account, right? So again,
it's not this crazy cheat code people talk about.
It used to work a lot more back in the days, 5-10 years ago. But now, again, with the automation of the approval process, these softwares they're picking that up really, really fast.
It's hard to get through.
So I think if okay, I'm gonna give it a little caveat, or I'm gonna try to save this a little bit. I do believe that if there could be a time and place for authorized users, only if you already have those solid 3 to 5
everything else handled.
Everything else handled, primaries, accounts on point, and you just want that little increase in score, just enough because you want to get a lower interest rate on something like an auto loan or mortgage or whatever it may be. Then maybe at that point, yes.
It's like taking a vitamin at the end. It's like a supplement. You should not be weighing your whole day's vitamins on one little pill.
That's a cool analogy.
Exactly. So, yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So.
Also, don't get taxed for them, like $1,000 for a
freaking, So here's the thing, you guys. Don't buy them. To be honest with you, focus on your primary accounts. Don't waste your time. So now here's the other thing. So that's AUs. What about primary accounts? Like, hey, somebody comes up to you and like, hey, I can sell you a primary line of credit. It's $10,000, and it's gonna be.
There's some people that so there's two things. If someone says they sell a primary, sometimes they're trying to just get you funded. Like they're trying to just tell you what to apply for, and then they're charging you to
really?
Yeah, there's some people that even do that, and they talk in that verbiage of like, yeah, I got primaries, and people will buy it, but really they're just having you apply. It's crazy. But the selling primaries, which I know you're talking about, is literally selling you something to paste on your report that you are liable for.
Yes, like that's how you sell it.
Debt. Yeah. So, but that's not the most common one. I've heard that a few times and been like, bro, you're just gonna tell me a list of things to apply for, and that's what you're selling as your primaries. But no, what you mean and what I've heard many times is they're literally gonna paste a primary account on your credit. What I don't know.
So what it would usually be is like a jewelry store.
Okay.
A jewelry store will open a line of credit for them and then lie
or a couch.
Or like a furniture store. It's gonna lie like, hey, this person bought this $10,000 item for me. So he put $1,000 down, so we're gonna give him a $9,000 credit limit, and he's been making his payments for the last 2 years. So now it shows up as a 2-year-old account on his credit report.
So they literally fabricate that and send it in.
Well, because here's the thing: if you are accredited to be able to report things. You have to have certain credentials and stuff
Right.
like that. To be honest with you, that is out of my expertise. I should not
Yeah.
be talking about it. However, yes, once you have access to be able to report things to the credit bureaus, then at that point I can just say, oh yeah, shit, I forgot that this guy has an account with me, and then just report it.
Self-reported
So,
thing.
so the furnisher is the one selling the
service,
the service,
which they get shut down because that's not what you're supposed
so
to do.
here's the thing with that, you guys. Just so you guys know, that is illegal.
Yeah.
According to the FCRA, there are only allowed to report truthful and honest information, and it's something like. Am I saying that these guys are gonna go to jail? I don't know. I don't know if this is much of a big concern.
But you're saying it is a violation.
But it is a violation, and that the last thing you want to be is involved in is like a list of fucking clients that they sold it to if they get caught by the FBI or the Federal Trade Commission or anything like that, and then if they get busted, you are there as one of their clients that they sold it to.
You don't want to be in a lawsuit.
Yeah, I don't, or go potentially find time.
Even
Because even if you don't know that you were breaking the law, in a sense, it doesn't matter. Yeah. It doesn't matter on the court of law.
What about the other one, which is going into a term called zombie debt, where they literally get, it's crazy what people believe. They will get debt that's like a collection or like a,
I don't really know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about? And they paste it on yours?
Yeah, so okay, so that's what they're doing. So for the business trade lines, which we're going to talk about right now, and those trade lines, what they think is this. What they're doing is they're buying a bunch of debt, like $10 million worth of debt for fractions of the penny, right? So they probably spent a few thousands of dollars, right? So then now, since they are the owners of said debt, they believe that they can do whatever they want with that debt and reassign it to somebody else.
Yeah.
Which again, you cannot fucking do that.
Yeah.
Imagine like this. Let's say Eddie owes me $10,000. I place him under collection, and then after 2-3 years, I can't collect it, can't find it, whatever. I do not have the right to all of a sudden be like, oh, well, since I'm the owner of this $10,000 debt, I'm going to put it on your credit file, and now you're fucked over. Now you owe me $10,000. You cannot do that. That's a violation of the FCRA.
Yeah.
Like, that is retarded.
And it's only believed by some people because usually what they end up using it for to try and validate the profile is a CPN, which we can talk about as well.
Okay.
It's in bad correlations.
So they do that for business trade lines, and they can do that for primary trade lines on the personal side.
I hear
so
a lot
the
of people
whole
that
buying debt situation, again, am I saying that you're going to go to jail for this? No, I don't know. But at the end of the day, my company is not going to sell you that shit because I don't want to be liable. I'm trying to.
Yeah. I will say that it's fugazi shit that you should not be involved in.
Right. Exactly.
And it's very closely runs along the lines of people who like CPNs. Which what does that tell you?
Okay.
Because
So what is a CPN for everybody?
Well, the actual terminology for a CPN has like 5 different meanings: the credit protection number, consumer protection number, credit privacy number. The reason why it has so many fucking abbreviations is because it doesn't actually fucking exist. And you could go on the IRS website and look for it, and it doesn't exist, and they will tell you that it's not a real thing. But people are influenced to believe it because they're in such a bad situation with their own credit file that they really, really like the idea of a new, fresh start, which someone will sell you and then tax you. And now you're involved in an illegal transaction because CPNs don't exist. And then Eddie, you can explain.
So okay, cool. So again, back to the basics. So CPN
it's
how
a
did
set of numbers,
right? So a CPN is being sold off and marketed to as like, hey, rich people, celebrities, they have to keep their identity hidden, which is true. Their government officials are giving this CPNs in order when they buy a property, their social's not linked to it, public records.
So they can stay below radar.
Yeah, below the radar, which I do believe. Okay, cool. Like, hey, if you're a public figure, I don't want. We're posting shit online. I don't want people knowing where I live. Right. Not because I have a daughter. Like, I'll be furious if something happens to my daughter. Right. So like keeping my family safe and protected is my number one concern. Right. So yes, I understand the where this term and okay. So now you guys, the only institution in America that can offer you a tax payer ID is Social Security Administration. Okay, if there's a company telling you they can sell you a CPN, they cannot. Okay,
not make them.
Right. So they can't make it now. I know companies that can help you apply for an ITIN number.
Right.
Right. So there's that. Like, hey, I'm going to help you apply through the IRS how to do X, Y, and Z. Cool. That does exist.
Taxpayer
Right.
identification number.
So, however, you cannot just be like, I'm just going to get you a new social magically. Doesn't work like that.
So
Now,
what are they doing?
cool. So what they're actually doing is that they are finding people that are deceased, people that are babies, children, teenagers,
Or in jail.
and anything where, or just completely faking them. Like, and then they just grab those set of numbers and they sell it to you
9.
for that. What?
They're 9 digits.
They're
no?
9 digits.
It's 9, right?
Yes.
7.
9 digits.
Yeah, it's 9. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
So
Yes.
it's like a social security number. So now here's the thing. Why does that work? The reason why that doesn't work. Oh, it could work for a little bit. Actually,
Yeah, I
you
mean-
can get lucky enough where you apply for like, because here's the thing. One time I got a call from this lady in Georgia. She got sold a CPN because she had bad credit on her personal credit report. She got sold a CPN because she needed a place to live ASAP.
She got the
So
apartment.
she paid like thousands of dollars for this CPN, was able to apply for the apartment, approved her, right? But then guess what? A few months later, like after 6 months, I don't know why they did like a thing, and they ran it again, and it came out back fraudulent, and that it wasn't hers, and now she's getting evicted.
Wow. That's
And I was
insane.
like, dude, well, unfortunately, credit repair doesn't work that fast. Like, I can't like not help, like they not evict you. But then they're already evicting her because whether she had good credit or not,
She used the wrong fucking social.
she
Yeah.
lied on the credit application. So again, you guys got to be very, very careful. And here's the thing: people have gone to jail for this.
Oh,
that
yeah.
one definitely yes.
Yes.
People have sold it. People who have bought it, and people who have applied for credit cards with that CPN.
I believe the terminology is synthetic fraud.
Or
if
bank
it is,
fraud or whatever.
if it's attached to somebody, it's identity theft. But if it's not attached, which you can go on websites that literally have you check if it's attached to somebody or not. If it's not attached to anybody and you're just actually lying, but it's not identity theft of someone else, it's a synthetic form of fraud.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. Yeah.
Correct. So again, the why. So let's say you do apply for credit cards and you get $50,000 in credit cards, right? Which is great. You're awesome. Okay, and then 3 months later, you're gonna get all that shit shut down, and then you are gonna be potentially facing criminal
years.
years in prison. And the government can do all the fraud they want, but if they
Yeah.
catch you doing fraud, you're gonna be in your ass in jail for a really long time.
Some people use that terminal, like that idea of like, well, they're fucking us over, so we should just get back. Nah, dude, it's not a good idea. I never would encourage it under any circumstances because it is other people's socials or socials that don't exist that are not yours.
Right. And now, how did the banks tell? The banks tell because your social security number, the number is generated specifically based on the time that you were born, what location you were born. So actually, I can take a look at a lot of people's socials. Again, I can tell them exactly what state they were born in, because
Wow.
I've seen so
I
many.
didn't even-
I've seen so many that I like. I know. Okay, 00. If it starts with 0, they're in New York. If it starts at 609, 609, something like that, California. If they start, yeah, right?
Don't give them that much info.
But yeah, so like, those numbers are generated. So then those are the first numbers, location based. The middle two numbers is based on the lot that you were born in, like the years that you were born in. So for a certain amount of years you were born, like that's the lot number. That's like, for example, let's say you were born in 1992. That doesn't mean that you have a 92 in the middle. No, it's just it's weird. It's based on like the lot number that you were associated with.
Like
And then-
mine is non-plain.
yeah, and then the last word is just like it keeps racking up.
Yeah.
So it's weird. It's
Oh,
crazy.
okay.
I feel like at some point we're gonna run out of numbers now.
Yeah, that shit is crazy, but it's a formula to it. But people will try to find ones that aren't connected to anybody and just slide through. Long story short, people want to hear that they're okay, but they're not.
They're not.
Yeah, so that's long story short for that.
Yeah, and then lastly,
not
what is
too-
the last thing you want to tell people to watch out for?
I mean, this isn't like illegal. It's just a very you have to tread carefully when you use them. Virtual offices, right?
Yeah, or
Oh,
virtual
yeah.
addresses. Period.
Yes.
Whether you're gonna use it for personal use or business use.
Right.
So-
And I ran into it, into some trouble because I was just listening to people online, and I got an address that would be considered a commercial mailing receiving address, which is not allowed to be used with the banks because the banks need a physical address, and a CMRA is one that's notably known to be like a PO box, pretty much. Like you could send money, you could send a mail over here, and it's not an actual physical residence or a business residence.
Yep.
So they're gonna cause you a shit ton of problems. You don't want to get caught up in those. I didn't even know how to identify them, and Eddie helped me actually figure out how to specifically identify them.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and I'm willing to drop that sauce here, to be honest with you. So let me go back to the. So again, I feel like a lot of people are like you're.
I know, yeah, it's tough.
Okay, so again, so why do we have virtual offices and stuff like that? So virtual offices and PO boxes or like virtual addresses came about because a lot of people don't have, either they want to hide where they live, or they want to they literally USPS, which is USPS as United States Postal Service. That is actually a government agency. Okay, the United States Postal Service is a government agency, and there's sections that they don't deliver to. So, for example, I had a client in rural Pennsylvania. His address, it's a PO box, and it was actually registered in the USPS store, right, by the government. And him applying for a bank to open a bank account was impossible. Why? Because even on the credit application online, they do not allow PO boxes. So again, if it starts with PO box, blah, 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 you're not going to be able to submit that information. Now, why do they do that? Because many years ago, they started noticing that a lot of people were opening businesses, LLCs, putting PO boxes so to be able to distance themselves as much as possible from these companies, apply for a bunch of credit. They used to do back in the day before 2008, they used to do the tier 1 to 4 business credit, like Uline, Granger, stuff like that.
And run off.
And then once they have personal credit, business credit on the business, apply for much business credit, non-personal guaranteed, and then max it out, run it off. And so actually during 2008, that was one of the biggest collapses in that market, was actually defaulting. So this is why a lot of banks collapsed. Like it was crazy. So a lot of money was lost. So again, one of the biggest things you guys got to realize is the number one thing that the banks are trying to avoid is fraud. It's credit card it's credit application fraud. And that is one of the red flags that the AUA, the automatic underwriting software, has in order to prevent said fraud, right? Because again, if you guys got to put yourself in the position of the banks. If you're going to lend someone $25,000, you better know where that asshole lives. Like I better know where I can go knock and make sure that you're there to get my money back, right? So same thing with the banks. They feel like if you have a virtual address where it's a mail receiving agency, it's going to be potentially fraud, right? So now, if you do live in one of these rural areas where like the United States Postal Code Service doesn't live, the best thing to do is move it to a family member. So that's what we did. He had a grandma who was only a few blocks down the road, but because she was on the main road, the U.S. Postal did deliver to her. So he just switched all his bank accounts to that. He applied for a new driver's license. He changed that up. Approvals. Approvals just because of that. Now,
that's a rare occasion.
Yeah, honestly, well, what I've known is that the USPS is supposed to deliver to any specific address in the U.S. No, it doesn't matter if they're like up in the mountains. No, that's what supposed to happen.
I thought you could register your address with the USPS, like get it on the books, but I'm not sure.
There's entire neighborhoods that don't get that. So this is why they also get PO boxes. If you go like super rural, then you just see a fence, a bunch of PO boxes like on the middle of nowhere. And because all those farmers and all those people that live in the middle of nowhere, they go to that PO box and just collect it there, mail there.
Wow.
Because think about it. Imagine then you'll be driving 50 miles a day for 5 people.
Yeah. I get it. Like if they're mile-long ranches and stuff, that's a stupid mail cycle to have
to
deliver to their door. Yeah.
So they just go to this one location, has a bunch of PO boxes, boom, deliver the mail there. But again, they don't. Banks don't like that. So
of course.
I don't think the people like that either.
Yeah.
No one likes it.
No, so this is like, and it's very hard because a lot of people like one of my very first clients who's worth millions of dollars on his driver's license and everything, he had a PO box.
Wow.
And I was like, bro, they really do not like this. But thankfully, I looked at it and it was actually, it didn't say PO box, blah blah blah. It was just like 123 Main Street, you know, and it looked like suite number, blah blah blah, which was actually kind of cool. And it worked. Thankfully, it worked for him. But so here's how you guys check, just to make sure that you guys are on top of this. all you guys got to do. Oh, excuse me. All you guys got to do is go to the USPS.com website. You guys got to go to the top second tab. It's the blue tabs. Can't remember. It says send.
Yeah, I believe so.
I think it says send,
Look
and
up.
then just hover over that. You're gonna scroll down the it's gonna a little menu gonna pop out. And then you guys click look up a zip code, right? You guys are gonna click on that, and then it's gonna give you 3 options. The very first option on the left hand side is gonna say find by address, right? Then you guys fill that out. You're gonna click search, and then guess what? That whatever it spits out, that is the official USPS code way to write your address. So just copy and paste that, and then once you click the down arrow, it's gonna see mail receiving agency, and one of those options, if it has a Y, it is being flagged as a mail receiving agency. If it's a no, then you're in the clear. You're able to use that for any banking purposes.
It won't be flagged. And then sometimes the bankers won't even know why your address is not being allowed by the big bank to be used for your mailing or for your residence. And it's because to them, the system just says it's not allowed, but they don't actually understand what's going on in the background, which is the CMRA problem. So if you haven't been able to use your LLC address or your personal address for whatever reason, that might be something you want to look into. And that's how you do it. Yeah.
Perfect. So I think we need to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right. So now last thing, thank you so much for joining the podcast, bro. It's been a long time coming. Now, can you tell everybody, our listeners, like how to reach you,
For sure.
where to get your contact information if they want to get more information from you?
For sure. Ask Stormy over here. She's talking. Why are they going to the door? All right. So yeah, if you guys want to get in touch with me, my Instagram is Mr. Credit Gems, MrCredit Gems, GEMS. Past that. No, but that's my YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. I'm most active on Instagram. I also have an SMS number that you guys can text if you want to text Gems to 1-805-667-0408. That's where I get the most news updates on anything I'm doing. They also get first dibs on anything I drop in terms of info products. So that's the place to be if you want to stay in complete touch with me. I also drop a bunch of resources on there other than credit. Just it's a little deeper aspect into my life. But yeah, that's where you can find me. Most active on Instagram, and if you can catch a live stream, that's the best place to ask me any questions. That's where I give the most free game, and I don't save those because I want to reward people that are active and are able to put time aside to learn. So yeah, if you guys want to check me out there, send me a DM. I answer all my DMs, so feel free to reach out if you want.
No.
Perfect.
Awesome. Well, again,
Awesome. Definitely one of my favorite podcasts.
Nice.
sure.
Yeah,
Going hard.
lots of gems dropped.
Cool.
Dope. All right. Well, we'll definitely see you guys
Awesome.
next time.
See you guys
Peace.
later.
Yeah, thanks.
What is up, guys? Thank you again for tuning into the next episode of our only. What?
I
know. OnlyFans.
That's what I was thinking, bro.
No, I was gonna say only points, but I forgot about my mic.
I was like, what is this guy doing?
Dumbass. Actual dumbass.
Big facts.
Can you believe this is our audio guy?